Hello and welcome to NISMO TV. It's Super GT Round 6 live and uninterrupted from Sportsland Sugo, one of the classic races on the Super GT calendar. I'm Sam Collins and I'm joined here in the studio by Leo Gorman. Welcome back, Lee.
Sam, thank you very, very much. It's looking like a really great day at Sugo compared to the changeable conditions that we had earlier this morning and last night. And as we see the starting grid coming up with Yamamoto starting the 100 bravery.
There, Yamamoto is alongside him there in the Nissan number 2. The blue car is a fantastic performance there. The Arta NSX in third position. Kaken in fourth. Gure starts that one. 76 kilos of ballast, but there's a fuel flow penalty on that. Hideki Moto in fifth position. Sixth is the Wed Sport car. Kenta Yamashita will be starting that. Tachikawa in the Zenitsurumo LC500 Lexus. 7th, 8th is JP Oliveira in Forum Engineering Nissan GT-R GT500. The keeper Tom's LC500. Nick Cassidy, Yamamoto's flatmate and reigning champion. 94 kilos on that one. 9th, Kazuki Nakajima in 10th position alongside, well, just ahead of Felix Rosenquist in 11th. 12th position is Sugio Matsuda in the red car. 13th is the white car in Satoshi Motoyama starting that one. Shio takes over a second position. Bertie Baguette doesn't start in 14th because Matsura is in that one. Heikki Kovalainen crashing in qualifying right down at the back of the grid. In GT300, though, the Subaru is on pole for the first time in 4 years, Lee's telling me. And the Hoppy 86, that's the pink and white Toyota GT86 in second position. The Golf Porsche in third. Fourth is the Max Hayeken 86. Good performance from them, actually. It's unusual to see them that high up. The Gainer Tanax in fifth position. That's one of the GT3 specification Nissan GT-Rs. Richard Lyons in the Audi is in sixth. The other Gainer Tanax Nissan in seventh position, alongside Hatsune Miku in eighth. Kataoka is starting that one. The Cintium Corsa Lexus RCF GT3 is in ninth, alongside the Legal Frontier Lamborghini. Sato starts that one. With Modulo Kenwood NSX GT3 in 11th, alongside the first of the Toyota Prius. 12th position, Koki Saga runs that. The run-up at Rivox GT-R with Shibata starting it in the GT3 Nissan. The AMG Leon Sistos is in 14th. The little Lotus is up in 15th. They produced something on the twists of here at Sugo. Nakayama in 16th. The Manipa Lamborghini in 17th. The EXE AMG alongside it in 18th. The D-Station Porsche with Muller starting in 19th. Yuji Ide in the Bentley down in 20th. The Saitama Toyo Pet Green Bay Mark X, not a pretty car, but Bamba starts it in 21st. They're getting better in that car. In 22nd, it's the RER8 from Fukushima. 23rd is the Arta BMW. Sean Walkingshow starts that right down the grid for them. 100 kilos of ballast though, that's why they're not competitive. The K-Tunes Lexus is down in 24th, alongside Tanaka in Dr. Takamori's Nissan. Alongside, in 26th position, Nagai starts the Prius, and the Tai 86 is, as usual, at the back. But look at the Prius. Max Arrido is back at the wheel of the hybrid. Bit of a turn up there.
Absolutely, and one less car this weekend because of the size of the number of pit garages at the Sugo circuit. So we will not have the 777 car guy ADA Honda this weekend due to their position, their final position in the 2018 GT300 championship.
And that's because Sportsland Sugo is such a small little track. They can't fit all of the cars on it. We saw a couple of years back, you can see it elsewhere on NISMO TV, you can see when they had a traffic jam in the pit lane. Well, there is the full starting grid, GT500 and GT300 together, and you can see why. This is a little tiny twisty track in the hills, 3.7 kilometers long. They say it's the Spa of Japan. I think it's in some ways better than Spa. It's not as fast, but it just produces brilliant racing.
It's interesting because I've heard drivers mention it. It's a lot like Spa before. Some have said it's got the mixture of Spa, but also the tight technical aspects of the Hungaroring mixed all in one. At 2.3 miles, you're right, it is a very short circuit. You can just see how much of the starting grid they actually take up that long, the short start-finish straight. It's going to be a very interesting race. As you can see, the field ends just underneath the Dunlop banner, and an absolute packed-out stadium this morning too.
There's a spare seat down there at the front, though, isn't there? I mean, you've got to be in.
He's just going to get some refreshments.
Look at I think that's the Subaru. No, it's the Keihin fans there in blue. A big blue box of people.
I do absolutely love how coordinated the the fans are in Super GTs. We see the 61 Subaru BRZ on pole position in GT300, as you said, for the first time in 4 years. Great effort.
And now that is a JAF GT300 car, and we'll explain that a little bit more later on, just after the national anthem, which will be coming up after Mr. Orange Jacket does his thing. The flags are getting ready for that national anthem, and the crowd are getting to their feet for the national anthem of Japan. A polite ripple of applause from the fans here at Sportsland Sugo. Looking up at the front of the field in GT500, Jan Mardenborough says he's happy with that. Second position on the grid. Not quite the payback they want after that near victory in the last round out, 500 miles of Fuji Speedway, but there is the championship standings because the blue car didn't win there. Nick Cassidy, the reigning champions, on top of the table in GT500, while in GT300, look, there you saw the orange BMW is on top in that championship. We'll talk more about the championship standings as the race progresses. Well, if there's time, because the racing here can be that frenetic.
And that's the thing with this. Sometimes with a track this short, you do see it tends to come fast, it comes quick, and it comes in big bouts of fantastic racing. As you see, the fans really getting into this pre-race ceremonies at Sugo.
They're little towels, they're little flags as well. They've also got these little hand towels that they wave with the car numbers on. They're quite cool, actually, because when it's hot, you just sort of mop your brow with these little hand towels that you can get. So you can get like a NISMO hand towel to mop your brow on. Lots of action in the world of NISMO as well, of course, as well as here at Sportsland Sugo. The Nissan Formula E team have been out playing with the new generation. What they call it, Generation 2, don't they, Formula E car?
Actually, I think it's called Gen 2.
Gen 2, okay. Gen 2 Formula E car has been out on track with Nissan, or NISMO, has taken a stake in the EDAMS team, which obviously is a very successful team, but they have been doing very well getting that team together. More news on that will come. I'm not sure exactly when, but we will have lots of stuff to talk about in the weeks and months to come. There he is. Look, Mr. Orange Jacket is happy to be here, doing his Master of Ceremonies role. He's very pleased to be back.
ただいまより2018スーパー GT 第6戦スーパー GT 第6戦 300キロレースを開会いたします開会いたします
So happy he said it twice. But yeah, it's going to be quite interesting because we've got lots more racing coming up. We've got British GT, we've got Blancpain Endurance Series, all of these things live and in full on NISMO TV.
And of course, there's the Blancpain Sprint Series.
Of course, I always forget the Blancpain Sprint Series.
They're having their second race later on today. As I said, the Blancpain Endurance, the finale, coming from Barcelona very shortly as well, as we see the police cars and the police motorbikes lining up at the start.
Police uniforms are different in Japan, aren't they?
I think everything is different in Japan.
Well, that's why I love Japan. Yes, but the Blancpain GT finale, there's also the GT Sport. So you know this gaming thing that's been done.
Yes.
So the winner of that is going to NISMO Festival, I think, at the end of the year. But there's going to be a live final here on NISMO TV, where these games are going to be going head-to-head in real time against each other to see who wins GT Sport this year. And it's going to be quite interesting to see how that one plays out. But on track here at Sportsland Sugo. Why is it called Sportsland Sugo? Because they wanted to build a sporting facility for all the different sports. Motor racing just being one of them. There were tennis courts, swimming pools, running tracks, football pitches. You name it, it was there. Baseball pitches, they're everywhere in Japan, baseball pitches. Is it baseball pitches?
Patches.
Yards. Baseball yards, our producer's saying. I don't know. There's probably half of America's now shouting at us. Well, here we go. They're rolling off the grid. It's the number 100 Ray Brig NSX GT500.
which I
There you
believe
go. Now we can hear the cars.
Yamamoto starting the Raybreak 100 car. And of course, on the first row of the grid, just off the racing line, is the number 12 Calsonic GT-R. And it was as Jan Mardenborough said yesterday, it was a very good present, actually. He has turned 27 just last week. It only seems a few years ago that he actually came out of the GT Academy program.
I was watching some old GT Academy stuff, and he looked so young in that.
I covered Jan
Snatch tank.
as a journalist when he was doing Formula 3 and GP3 alongside his GT Academy stuff, and you know what? He looked so young back then. It's quite scary.
So for those of you who haven't watched Super GT before, the police set the field off and they do this lap around. But look at this. This is one of the old school circuits, isn't it? Sportsland Sugo. Just, you know, the proper runoff, bit of grass, barrier.
It does have a touch of Alton Park, and Brands Hatch about it, actually.
It does, doesn't it? It is a bit more like a British circuit than most of the Japanese circuits are. They're all quite modern, most of them. But this one is just one of the old school tracks. That's what makes it so wonderful. Nature of this circuit favours mid-engined cars. That's why the Hondas look quite strong. Honda's got an extra 10 kilos here because of that.
Yeah, it was about. I think it was anticipated before the event that the Hondas may actually have something of an advantage with their balance, but hopefully, well, maybe for the Hondas are hoping that they don't face some of the tyre difficulties that we've seen in previous rounds. And the interesting thing, one of the things I do like about the Sugoland circuit is you have that the 110R long, winding final corner. There is actually a chicane, but that's not going to be used for the racing, thankfully, because that final corner is an absolute blessing to watch.
Do you know what the final corner is actually called?
What?
Final corner. So the corner names here at Sportsland Sugo. The first corner is called First Corner. The second corner is called Second Corner. The third corner is called, have a guess.
Fourth corner?
No, third corner. The S-shaped curve, do you know what it's called? The S-shaped curve. The highest point of the track is called High Point Corner. And then the corner after that's called Rainbow Corner. I don't know why.
Maybe you see a good view of the rainbow from that corner.
Then you've got the backstretch corner, which isn't really a corner. Horseback corner, which is the little right-hander as they come into SP in, the two left-handers, the double left, SP in and SP out. And then there's that final corner, which is both called 100R and final corner.
As you see, the police brigade have pulled off the circuit. We're now on the formation lap. One final round of the circuit before the race gets going, and they will grade into 2x2 formation as they come through final corner.
Well, I just had a message from the paddock. And should we say that Welshman we were talking about is particularly nervous today, and that means he thinks he can win. So Jan Mardenborough is going all out for it. You'll see two starts in Super GT. There'll be, first of all, a GT500 starts, and then the GT300 class will have their own start. Two classes of car in Super GT. GT500, big, powerful carbon fibre monocoque cars, Honda NSX, Nissan GT-R, and the Lexus LC500. All of them have got 2-litre turbocharged engines, producing in the order of 700 brake horsepower.
I was about to ask, have they hit the 700 brake horsepower marker just yet?
I believe so. Nissan running a new specification of engine, the NR20 2-litre turbo. You can't buy these engines for your car. They feature direct injection, fuel flow limits, big old turbochargers, and they sound absolutely fantastic. We'll turn up the noise during the race. Second category of cars, the GT300s. There's a bloke from the southwest, Benson I think his name is. There's a bloke who isn't. That is one of the greatest drivers in the history of Japanese motor racing. Now team boss of Team Impel. And his car, the Calsonic number 12, driven by Jan Mardenborough. The second class of cars in the Super GT is GT300, a mix of FIA GT3 cars, home-made or locally made JAF GT300 cars, like the Subaru BRZ and the Toyota Prius. We're going to talk a bit more about the Prius as the race goes on. And, of course, the mother chassis cars, which all share identical carbon fibre monocoques and a very familiar-looking 4.5-litre V8 engine. But now the field is beginning to compact itself. The safety car is disappearing off on his own. And as you can see, the marshals there are holding up the grid boards. It's telling the teams to form up, which they will, 2x2. It's a bit spread out at the moment, but it's quite a good start-finish straight.
And it will be held slightly as they form up 2 by 2, and they will not really get the green until they're in a very, very nice formation, as we see them forming up now. And to your left of the screen there is the 100A Ray Brigg, and to the right is the number 12 Calsonic Nissan GT-R.
And they're off.
And they go.
That was a very disorganised start there. They didn't form up at all as well as they should have done. And a nice, easy lead for the Honda. Everybody slots into position pretty much in qualifying order. Let's see if GT300 can be quite so orderly. They never, absolutely never are. So into the first corner, there you go. The Honda's setting off and looking like it's got a little bit of an advantage there, but I think these guys are just getting heat into the tyres. It did look like their tyres were a little bit cold for the Honda there. Here comes the GT300 start. The Subaru gets away nicely. There are those two mother chassis GT86s getting onto the case of the Gulf Porsche. Trying to make it up the inside, though, is the Lexus. Doesn't quite do it. Holds into fifth, but he's got him into the second corner. Has he? They're wheel to wheel into the left-hander. The Toyota holds fourth just about, or does he? No, the Lexus nearly goes into the gravel, and there's a huge battle going on for fifth and sixth position. The Gainer Tanax GTR's there in the middle of that, absolutely as well. And oh, Hatsini Miko nearly takes out the camera for sixth or seventh position there. In the lead, though, is the Hoppy. No, the Hoppy 86 is in second, and disappearing off into the distance there is the Subaru. Look at that. It's in also a different class. The Golf Porsche there getting up right up on the tail of the Hoppy 86. Ishikawa on Sho Suboi. Suboi has been having a good season elsewhere, but this isn't the best of him. Round the outside there is the Golf Porsche. But this is about tyre temperature as the Hoppy comes back at him.
Wonderful move there. The Golf Porsche, and just almost ran a little bit wide coming through the long right-hander there, and just nearly caught himself offline and allowed the number 0 Hitsaki Miku car right through again.
That's going to be interesting. This is the interesting thing, because qualifying was rain affected for some classes, not for GT300 so much, as the Gainer Tanax is now beating up on Hoppy 86. The 86 doesn't seem to be getting the pace. Now I suspect that's down to tyre temperature.
The Gainer Tanax got such a fantastic drive off that final corner, whereas the Hoppy car just looked like it was struggling slightly to get the foot on the throttle.
That Nissan 2018 specification, Nissan GT-R GT3, the new version of the Nissan GT-R for GT3 racing for this season, is more powerful than the GT86, but look at the gap the Subaru's built up.
Absolutely disappearing into the distance. Now, because this is an 81 lap race, you can't win it this early on, so the 61 Subaru, they do not want to blitz their tyres this early in the race. I mean, in terms of strategy, Sam, what are they looking at? Is this going to be a one-stop race?
A straight up one-stop race at about 100. Well, you're just going to see the pit window from about 40, lap 40. Though safety cars are distinctly possible here at Sugo, as the Audi now beats up on the 86 as well. Just looking at that, the Hoppy 86 has now lost 3 places from its qualifying start, whereas if you look back, the other one of the mother chassis 86 has also lost a load of places. So it looks like those 86s haven't quite got the ability to get the pace at the moment. But could they go for a zero change tyre strategy, which we've seen at this track before with those 86s? They could be saving tyres. Well, in GT500, nobody's overtaken anybody apart from the Denso LC500 that's got past the NSX. But look at this. This is surprising. Lap 3. And they are already getting GT300 traffic, so I suspect...
Is that a late starter?
Well, that is one of the 2 Prius, and I think that's the number 30 car driven by Max Arrido, and I'm not quite sure why that's so far off the pace. We didn't see it make a pit lane stop. We must have done.
The reason I asked that, the reason I say that is, of course, the 500 cars. There's no other 300 cars in around in any way, shape, or form. So I think that may be a late starter or an off that we didn't see. We did notice on that first lap, the GT500 cars, the Hondas are still weaving around. They're still trying very, very hard to get tyre temperature going, even weaving after the race has actually started.
Yeah, you'll see that quite a lot. No tyre warmers, of course, in Super GT, so these tyres are specially made to run without tyre warmers. It's something I think that's quite a good thing. Formula One's adopting the same policy in the years to come.
And DTM did it at the start of last year as well. A lot of the races I covered were kind of almost decided by how much temperature you could get into your tyres in that first lap after the pits, and it's very much the same too in GT500 to a degree.
And it is, of course, Super GT is a tyre war category. which means there's more than one tyre manufacturer. There are multiple tyre manufacturers, and you have Yokohama, Dunlop,
Michelin
and Bridgestone all
yes.
trying to get the best out of each other, and teams are free to use it. Some of the tyres are specially developed for the cars. Now, around the outside there was the Gainer Tanax getting a move done on the Golf Porsche.
That was a very good move by Yoshida. And it wasn't a straight overtake. He actually just was pincered in the car just slightly. And as we see a replay.
What we're looking at here. It's the one of the 86s getting rear-ended by one of the Mercedes down in the back end of the field. Oh, there's Mintzilla. Rare sighting of the lesser spotted 2015 specification green Nissan GT-R GT3.
So the 100 big NSX still leading this race, 1.2 seconds ahead of the number 12 Calsonic car that's running in second at the moment. It's Sasaki, I think, is at the wheel of the number 12 Calsonic for his first stint. I think
Daiki start it? I think he might have done as well.
But here we have a battle for fifth place. It's the 16 Motul NSX with a 19 Wet Sport LC500 and a 38 cent LC500. And again, it's for the Honda cars. Again, there's the worry they have the mid-engine cars, so they have the extra 10 kilo worth of ballast. I mean, how is that really going to affect them in terms of
well, that's possibly part of it. As the Keihin NSX goes bouncing off the track. I'm not quite sure how he managed that. We only saw the end of it, but no harm done apart from to his ego, I guess.
Lost a couple of positions, I think, as well. There, maybe 2 or 3 positions.
Yeah, the Wed Sport in the centre definitely got past him.
I mean, to lose positions this early on, we're going to see a replay. Nah, just ran wide. He just went flying off wide.
You can't even blame the marbles this early on. There's been a Formula 4 race here, but that's about it.
3 get past, 3 lost 3 positions, and that's 3 positions is difficult to overtake here at times. Yes, you can get a run in into turn 1, but you can't just simply give away 3 positions like that. It's very, very difficult to get back.
Yeah, it's we were talking about there's a battle now. There's the Forum Engineering JP Oliveira now on the back of that Keihin car. It's going to be interesting because that extra 10 kilos that the Hondas have got was because they usually have so much of an advantage around this track as a mid-engined car. They are the only GT500, of course, is mid-engined. The other 2 are front-engined rear-wheel drive. Honda is a mid-engined, midship, as they like to call it in Japan, rear-wheel drive car. So they got this extra 10 kilo weight penalty applied to all the Honda NSX GT500s. It seems to be about the right amount because the Hondas do seem very competitive here, and I don't think it's really held them back at all.
Not really, but at the same time, as we see in second place, the number 12 Calsonic Nissan GT-R is still there. The Hondas are not getting away; they're not overtaking vast swaths or just pulling away from the rest of the field. As we see a fantastic.
That was JP Oliveira getting the job done on the Keihin NSX there. Jan Amada did start the car in number 12. It is Jan, not Daiki Wolf.
No. Barber, as I said, his turned 27 last week, enjoying himself out front. But he
second position, but I think he's going to be working on getting up. There's a lot of time management going on at the moment in this race.
He's not letting the Raybrick 100 get away by any way, shape, or form. That gap is still only 1.2 seconds. Well, 1.3
hungry for
seconds.
a win is Jan Mardenborough. We're just going to have a quick look to see how the front of the pack is getting on here at Sportsland Sugo. You're watching NISMO TV, Super GT Round 6 live from Sportsland Sugo. And there is Jan Mardenborough working his way up through the field. Second position, there you can see the time gaps. And they are coming down, Leigh. Look, 1.4, 1.3. I mean, it's early in the race to be talking about that. 8 laps done, but 0.5 of a second. There's the race leader. There is P2. There is P3.
And that is the gap now down from the Arta NSX in third place, catching Mardenborough. And a lot of this is going to be traffic as well. It's not pure pace, it's not tyre wear or someone on several hot laps. It is going to be very much traffic, and we're going to see huge amounts of traffic in this race because it is such a small circuit.
Yeah, and we talk about, I mean, it's not actually that small when you compare it to something. It's not Linden Hill, but it is still pretty a small track. And well, now look at this. It's going to be quite interesting. So you've got one of the GT3 Hondas holding up Mr. Orange Jacket's own personal Honda, the Arta Autobacks GT500. Honda on the tail, and that car's looking a bit menacing for the blue car Calsonic number 12. in third position, but I think he's going to be chasing for second as Jan Mardenborough is chasing for the lead.
Mardenborough's actually just dropped back slightly, actually in that traffic. He's lost a second. But again, in a few moments, as we see it in the GT300, the 61 Subaru BRZ, it was now a 6-second gap over the number 10.
Huge, isn't it?
And an additional 4 seconds.
Well, we didn't see it on camera, but there you go. The Arta Autobacks GT500 did get the move done on Jan Mardenborough, but Mardenborough now fighting back.
Doesn't quite make it, ends up giving up the position to the NSX.
It's Izawa, he of former GP2 fame. Came back to Japan, is now racing in Super Formula Super GT. And yeah, that's interesting because look at that Honda, it has disappeared though. Now how did they get done? Just drafted past him down the straight. There's Hatsune Miku, so they're up near the front of the GT300 field. Nearly contact between Mardenborough and Izawa there.
There was a little bit of a wiggle there as Mardenborough got on the brakes.
Nearly got
and he tried to hang it on to the inside and just didn't quite make it. But I wonder, actually, I'd like to see earlier than that, if Mardenborough had maybe been caught out slightly by traffic coming out of the final corner.
Well, I think maybe because he's suddenly dropped a chunk of time, hasn't he? Let's not forget, this is a car that was absolutely on course to win the Fuji 500 until a tiny little, I think it was a hose clip, failed on the car. There's Daiki Sasaki.
Clearly not in the car.
Nope, clearly not. At Daiki Wolf 23 on Twitter. I'm at Northheart Sam.
But I mean, it's interesting. We see the lap times there now for the number 12 Calsonic GT-R with Jan Mardenborough, and they've dropped 2 to 3 seconds per lap now that they're really hitting very thick 300 traffic.
But it does look, Jan does seem a little bit unusually reticent actually in the traffic. He's being held up more than he normally would. He's usually very aggressive and gets it done quite quickly, but here he just doesn't seem to be. I wonder if they're trying something on the tyres as well, just holding it back. Yeah,
it's just as I was about to say as well. Are they playing the long game in this race? Because it is a very, very short, quick race. Probably, and we've seen races earlier on this year, for example, where cars have gone non-stopping tyres throughout the race. I think it was the number 100 NSX did that in the first round at Okayama.
That's right, because we were all very worried why, there it is. We were worried why Jenson Button was so slow. It wasn't he was slow, he was saving tyres. And I wonder if they're going to do that in this race. Button up in the second stint after the pit stop. Will he get some old tyres? 5.062 second gap and getting bigger. That's
how much traffic has caught the cars behind. The Raybrake NSX has just been able to fire through the traffic as we see the leading GT300 car, Yamauchi, at the wheel of that. And the Subaru BRZ, a 6.4 second gap.
This is domination. 6.8 domination. But we have seen unreliability from the Subaru. Now, here on NISMO TV, don't forget to tap us up on all of the social media channels at NISMO on Instathing, Twitter, the Facebook, the other, I don't know what other social media is there. It seems to be on all of them, so everything. Snapchat, is it on Snapchat? I don't think so. I don't know what that is. So social media, lots and lots of great NISMO content. I think Instagram has usually got fantastic photos of the cars from the garage and stuff.
I thought Instagram was just for food.
I think there's food on. I posted some food on Twitter anyway earlier. So here we go. There's a great battle now between.
That's the AU36.
AU36. I was just.
Is that Cassidy in the?
No,
it's Nakajima.
That's the other car. Cassidy is in the Red Bull. Keeper Tom's car there is just ahead. But look at that. Really getting on the case of the Keihin, and just behind them it's the Wacos LC. Behind them, looming in the background, it's the red car number 23, but the Motul Ortec GT-R. Carrying a lot of ballast on that, and these are the cars that are suffering with those big ballast penalties. The Keihin SX, Kaguri at the wheel is dealing with that. And then Nakajima working his way through it. There comes Wacos, but right onto the tail now of the Wacos catching in traffic is the Motul Ortec GT-R. The famous red car is right at the back of this GT500 battle for, well, it's about 9th and 10th position they're going for.
And it's not been a great start for the 17 Keihin NXX, considering they qualified up in 4th place. So dropped back to 9th in these early stages. Of course, lost 3 positions when they had a slide off, but still losing 2 positions additional to that.
Well, it's interesting just looking at the timings. All the GTRs just seem to have been into a little bit of a phase where they're struggling a little bit for pace. Fastest off them is Jan Mardenborough in the number 12 Calsonic car. Obviously, the lap times for the 23 are a little bit impacted by the fact that it's got 4 GT500 cars in front of it and a whole bunch of GT300s, which one of the Gainer Tanaks there didn't notice. Now there's the craft sports car now, the white car, right on the tail of the red car, which is trying to pass the Wacos car, and behind them is Heikki Kovalainen in at the totally out of position Lexus and trying to go round the outside of Felix Rosenqvist, is Sugio Matsuda. And I think he's going to make that one stick, as the wonky sticker Audi that's now got a straight sticker is done. So he gets it done on the Wacos. Sugio Matsuda now picking up the pace in the number 23. 23 for Nissan.
Brave of Matsuda to try a move like that on Rosenqvist. Rosenqvist is not a driver who gives up positions easily. A very, very, very highly rated young driver there, the Swede. But very good position taking there from Matsuda, up to 11th place.
Yeah, Sugio Matsuda is usually an extremely quick and extremely aggressive driver. I mean, he's been around doing this for a while. Also racing in Super Tight Q in one of the Nissan GT3s there, and he pops up in occasionally. But look at the gap there. Yamamoto, clear track back to the Arta NSX. There is Jan Mardenborough in third position. Then a big gap. We see the Subaru just out on its own in GT300. I mean, look at that gap back to the next nearest GT300 car.
But also the number 10 Gainer NSX is himself out in absolute clear air. 8 seconds behind a leader and 10 seconds behind the third place car too.
Yeah, I mean, the Subaru is getting this done pretty well. Oh, that's quite aggressive driving there from the wonky sticker Audi. Trying to keep third position, Richard Lyons from Ishikawa in the Golf Porsche. Both GT3 specification cars there.
And Lyons just taking third place there from the Golf 911 of Ishikawa. So, yeah, that's sort of that second round. It was nice to see someone actually finally went to the front of that car and straightened that sticker out.
Yeah, I know. It was really annoying me, actually. Well, just behind the Golf Porsche is the Gainer Tanaks, one of the 2 Gainer Tanaks GTRs. It's number 11 with Yasuda at the wheel. Interesting future for Yasuda. I think he could be a GT500 appearance at some point. But he's got the toe down the start-finish line on the German car, wearing that very famous livery. Now he's going to try and go around the outside into the first corner. That won't work, but will he be able to get the undercut into the second corner? He's not going to give it a go there. He's going to try and go up the left, I think, into the next one. Not enough space for that. Needs to try again next time around.
And he dropped that maybe a little bit too early from the draft, and of course the Golf 911 still had a little bit of a draft from Lyons just ahead as well, so that came to naught. And of course now the Gainer GT-R under pressure from behind too, from the
that's one of the GT500s. So that's the Epson car that we never talk about because it's not been very competitive this year. So working his way through the field there, out of it for the GT500 battle really. And obviously may have had some problems actually, that Epson car, because we haven't really spoken about it.
I mean, it's not even going through traffic in the same way as a lot of the other GT500 cars, so very much not on the ball there for this race, or a lot of this season really. We haven't spoken about it a lot.
It's just they've not been there this year. They're not having a great season. A car that is having a good season is there, number 23, the Motul Ortec GT-R, being held up on pace there by Kazuki Nakajima. You don't hear that very often, but Sugio Matsuda, there's Ronnie Quintarelli looking very interested. What he's noticing is that of the Nissan GT-Rs, his car is doing about a 1:16 lap. The blue car, the Calsonic car, which is in clear air at the moment, is with Jan Mardenborough at wheel, is doing about 1:14. So Jan's found 1.2 seconds over all of the other GT-Rs. However, the red car is in traffic. He's dropped back of the back a little bit with the Cahins right there as well.
And that's the thing you'll notice is once drivers from GT500 are going through the 300 traffic, once you're in that big bulk of cars that we see from a third position maybe down to a 10th or 11th, that's very, very, very difficult to get through. You're losing so much time. When you're overtaking maybe the number 10 Gainer NSX or Gainer GT-R, should I say, or the leading Subaru B or Z, there's such a large gap between those two cars. It's actually quite easy for any GT500 to get through them. But in this large pack, you're losing seconds, entire seconds.
And a car that isn't losing seconds at the moment is that number 12 car. 8 tenths between cars in second and third. We're not seeing it on the screen because there's this fantastic battle between the AU Toms LC500 and the 23 Nissan GT-R GT500. On the back of that is the Wacos car. Air temperature 30 degrees centigrade. Track temperature only down at 39, which suggests it's been a bit cloudy. There was rain this morning and fog at Sportsland Sugo. It has got to be pretty humid and sweaty there. And it's going to be, we're seeing questions come in on the chat. Keep them coming. We will get to your questions. Question came in about, will we see a DTM car run a full season of Super GT next season? Well, my information says, yes, quite possibly. We may see a Mercedes in Super GT next year in the Wed Sport livery. But we don't know. It's just a rumour.
Very interesting as we see a four-way battle for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th here between the 17 Keihin NSX, the 36 AU LC500 with Nakajima at the wheel. You get the 23 Motul GT-R, that's Matsuda in 11th place, and of course Rosenqvist in the number 6 Wacos LC500.
And the AU LC500 is getting very racy on the back of that Honda. The Honda's holding them all up. Just look up the road. You can see the other Tom's car, the Red Bull liveried Keeper Tom's LC, as the number 3 craft sports car gets past the Wacos as well. The Nissan GT-Rs now seem to be going into the sweet spot window, 17 laps in. It's quite important for the second stint if they do make tyre changes. I suspect they will in the Honda camp at least.
And of course the number 3 craft sport car, only with 18 kilos of ballast and there's a fuel flow restrictions there, compared to Rosenqvist in the number 6 Wacos with 68 kilos worth of ballast.
We're not seeing it on the screen at the moment, but on the move on track is the number 12 Calsonic car. There he is. I was about to say, because that is the fastest car on the track right now as the Nissan is moving into its performance window. That's why we saw that little slump. We'll probably see it in the second stint, but Mardenborough now wants to get that position back, second position back off that Honda, and then set about whittling away the lead of the Raybreak car.
Slightly offline there for Mardenborough going into turn 1, but he's right on the tail now of Itzawa. And I wonder if this is a situation if Honda, where we've seen them struggle with maintaining tyres in some of the races so far this year as well. Now, have we reached a point at 18 laps into this race that maybe they're beginning to ebb and fall away slightly? I think the top 3 all running on Bridgestones, so all the same runner as we see the 117 going on.
Well, this is going to be interesting because you've got the GT500 battle for second going on, but there's a mid-pack GT300 battle going on there. I didn't think they'd seen them, but yeah, there is Sean Walkinshaw in the BMW trying to get past the Bentley and the Toyota Mark X, that green car.
And it's that part of the circuit you don't want to get behind a gaggle of GT300 cars of that part of the circuit, because it's so difficult to get through because the track tightens very, very, very suddenly.
And there's a lot more GT300 for them to work through. Mardenborough is right on the tail of that Honda now. Will the Welshman be able to get it through? So exciting, his earphones fell off.
And Mardenborough is going to have another attempt here, and I think the Itzawa may have just got a little bit of an advantage coming into that final sector of the lap.
We're not seeing it on the screen, but I think it must be traffic, but the race leader, the Raybrick car, has just lost 2 seconds. There you go. Yeah, now we've got it. So look at that gap coming down. It's 1.7 seconds. This is the battle for the lead now. There is second position. The Arta NSX on the tail of him is Jan Mardenborough, but just look up the field. That is the race leader. NISMO TV, Super GT Round 6, live from Sportsland Sugo. I think it's about to get quite spicy, and it certainly does, as the GT300 car.
And here comes the number 12 Calsonic through in the second place, and Itzawa loses a position to Mardenborough. Very, very, very clever driving there from Jan Mardenborough. Saw Itzawa was blocked, saw a gap and went right down the inside. Very, very, very cleverly done from Mardenborough. Now into second place and chasing the leader, who's only just over a second up the road.
Yeah, and Itzawa got held up there by that green and white Porsche. That's the D-Station car, I think. But there is the Keihin car now being beaten up. This is that battle down for the lower positions. I think we should be watching the lead of this race, because that is where the action is going to come. But right now, look at that chain of GT500 cars. You'd forget GT300 existed looking at that.
But that's, as we mentioned earlier on, about this race can be won and lost in traffic, as we see our first stopper of the afternoon. It's the Audis going into the pits. I think it's the...
It's early.
Yeah, very early actually, from Richard Lyons.
It's too early. There's 61 laps of this race still to run. Lap 20.
Unless
first
it's
of
a
the pit
very
stop.
risky strategy, if it is strategy.
It's a 4-tyre stop. Well, rears first. Looks fairly...
I think it's...
Did they do a driver change? They didn't.
Is that two-stopper? That's very unusual for a two-stopper.
Yeah, I think they are. But look, here we go. The Cayenne NSX is now up on the tail of Nick Cassidy, the reigning champion in the number 1 keeper Tom's LC500. I thought he was loitering back, so they got right onto the back of him. But look at the amount of gap he pulled out as the AU Tom's car comes up the inside. They touch going into the left hand of the 23 Sugo Matsuda, taking advantage on the Honda, and he's now going to get the gain on the Lexus as well. Fantastic stuff.
Fantastic intuitive drive.
Look at the Wacos. Moving on at the back of the Carafe number 3 Nissan GT-R. That's the next one in line to get the Cayenne, but they're not going to wait. Heikki Kovalainen hanging around on the back of that pack as well. The Finn working his way back up after that qualifying crash.
The gap up front, 1.5 seconds. I was just watching this fantastic 5-way battle for 9th through to 13th.
Well, that is... look at that pack, and that's and there's another issue for that. See, I was just come out of the pits.
That's Lion's car, who's only just out of the pits. You're right. He's rubbing. I think is that an engine or is it tire rubbing?
That's tire. That's the left for a tire issue. Well, I think that is that finger trouble, or has he had a tire failure that quickly?
Well, no tire warmers in Super GT, of course, which would make me think he may have possibly had a slight off on cold tires coming out. But that's just speculation at the moment.
It's all gone a bit Sugo at the moment, hasn't it? So the lead battle is going on. I've been told now from the pits that the Calsonic car is performing tyre management, so we may see some strange strategy going on for the number 12. It is quite an interesting one, but it's very close at the end. 1.2 seconds separate first and second position. A lot less than that separates this pack of cars. Now 2 packs as the Cayenne has been passed by a few, and that's broken up. Sugo Matsuda off down the road. The Craft Sports next, but not quite making the move yet. And they need to do it. There is the number 23 Sugo Matsuda chasing the Tom's pairing. Those two Lexi you see at the front are teammates, and that was allowed. Cassidy's just letting his teammate through. Nakajima just making it past, but Cassidy now needs to defend from the number 23, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Yes, 0.266. There is nothing between the lead going on. We're not seeing the lead battle on screen for the moment. Yes, now we are. There's Jan. Slightly sideways, though. That's not how you protect the tyres.
And of course, the qualifying times we saw for the GT500 cars, they were in the 1 minute 11s, 1 minute 12s. They're lapping.
There's an off. It's gone off. Someone's gone off. I'm seeing something on the data screen. I'm not quite sure it is.
And of course, the cars at the top of GT500 are running, as you see on screen there, they're running the 116s. And now the Raybig, the leading car, the 1 minute 18s, 1 minute 20s, and then 1 minute 19 on lap 18. They're losing a lot of time. And is that just traffic? Could you really lose 5-6 seconds a lap in traffic?
You can, but look around them. There isn't any. He's losing time. And I think what we're seeing, I think Raybrig's doing something with the tyres. Oh, well, Lyons, the problem seems to be more severe. I wonder if the suspension had gone. Lyons isn't looking happy. He's talking to the team, but back to the battle for the lead. Now, they are performing time management of some description on the number 12, but the Raybrig is losing so much time. Don't forget, we saw Jan Mardenborough putting 1:14s in earlier. Look at those lap times. They're way off that speed. Mardenborough's going to take the lead at any moment now. Coming down start-finish, he's in the toe. Is he going to have a look into the first corner? He absolutely is, and he's done it. Easy peasy, candy from a baby.
That was very, very, very nicely done by Mardenborough. But it's also a point thing, Sam. So when you're doing tyre strategy, at what point does the tyre strategy you're running become detrimental to your eventual position in the race? Is the 100 Raybrig almost too far off the pace to actually make an alternate strategy like a no-stopping actually work in this race?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You do the no tyre change, saves you a huge amount of time in the pit stop phase. However, it's all about the gap as the Cayenne NSX now gets around the keeper Toms, and it looks like the number 3 Craft Sports car is about to do the same. It's the gap between first and seconds that counts between Jan Mardenborough and that Honda. He needs to extend it. Jan needs to extend it to make sure that they can change tyres, or maybe only take 2 tyres instead of all 4, and keep that gap going, and that's what defines it. So he needs to make a much bigger gap if the Raybrig doesn't change tyres. The Raybrig still has the advantage, but look at this battle here. The keeper Toms, Nick Cassidy, struggling for performance, and he is absolutely swamped with cars. This is how you lose 6 seconds a lap. You know, Jan's out in traffic, but look at this. The Toyota Mark X, that green car, a Japanese market only production car, but that is one of the that's one of the mother chassis cars from carbon fibre monocoque and a very familiar looking 4.5 litre V8 normally aspirated engine, which just looks very much like an old LMP2 engine to me, but I don't know why I think that.
It's just cars everywhere. So it's just cars.
It's just, yeah, it is cars everywhere. This is Sugo. It just comes and goes like this. Look at that! Oh, and the craft sports car just shutting the door on the Wacos, putting him on the grass.
Didn't just shut the door. He slammed it in his face.
But while he's done that, he's gone round the outside of the keeper Tom's car.
I did with 2 wheels on the grass as they came onto the start, but I think he may have actually just been slightly taken aback by one of the GT300 just in front of him.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I think he didn't see him coming. The Lotus there, which could go forever, as it usually does. But yeah, just to close the door on one, pass another, this is just pure Sugo now, and they're just warming. You know, it was a little bit of a slow start to this race, but now they're realising where they are.
And we see the times. Cassidy there, for example, in traffic, he's in the 1:20s, the 1:18s at the moment. They're losing so much time when it gets stuck in traffic on the back end of the circuit. As we see, the number 100 Ray brake has actually kind of dropped back up to
yeah,
the 12 Calsonic.
Mardenborough pulled out 1.5 seconds, and he now seems to be losing it. And the Ray brake seems to, maybe they've switched strategy and said, look, we can't make this work with the tyre plan. Go for it.
Possibly. I think he was losing. I think it was losing so much time running down into 1:18s, 1:20s that it just probably would not have made sense in the grand scheme of the race. Yes, you save lap time. You may save time in the pit stops by not changing tyres, but if you're losing almost twice that by actually losing time on track, it just doesn't make sense.
Keep all your questions coming on the chat here on NISMO TV. We are seeing them, but the race has been a little bit too exciting to get to them. And there you go. That's exactly why, as the Wacos car is locked into battle with Heikki Kovalainen, trying to get past that car now as well. Kovalainen versus Rosenqvist.
13th and 14th place, and they're still battling just as hard as they would if it were for first and second.
Look at the way the back of the car's moving around for both of them now. Kovalainen is absolutely pushing that Denso-sponsored Saad Run LC500 to the limit. But it's not catching him time. It's slowing him slightly. In the pits there, the Leon AMG again to lap 26. It's very early.
So is this
a Mother chassis car there as well? One of the 86s is in.
Very, very early stop for both of them. And of course, but I'm assuming Lions may have already had a pre-existing issue.
Lions looked like it was an issue, but those two looked routine as the Zentsruma passes Mintzilla.
We see the 61 Subaru BRZ and GT300 with quite a large lead over the number 10 Gainer Tanix. And I think it's almost half a minute back to the 3rd place car in GT300. What an incredible gap.
So a few quick moments to get some questions in from the chat. Yes, there really is a Toyota Prius, but that car is banned from the end of the year. The Toyota Prius currently is fitted with an LMP1 engine, but it's a midship mounted. That layout has been banned for 2019. We will see an all-new car from APR Racing in 2019. My rumours tell me it's going to be a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo powered Toyota Supra in GT300 next year.
Interesting.
So that could be the one to watch. But there's an all-new car coming from the APR stable in 2019. Is that really Heikki Kovalainen from Formula One? Yes, he's not the only ex-F1 driver. We've got Kamui Kobayashi, Yuji Ide, of course. A few others. Yamamoto.
The famous Yuji Ide.
And there's a bloke from Frome called Benson Jutton.
I thought that was his twin brother.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, learned to drive in a car park in Swindon, I believe.
Oh, really? Is that right?
Yeah. In a Honda.
In a Honda. Well, it's looking interesting at the front of the field. I do think that we need to see that gap between the 1st and 2nd place cars, because I think the Raybrig team has changed their tyre strategy, why they suddenly picked up the pace. They realised they couldn't hold off the Calsonic. And if the Calsonic goes for a 2-tyre strategy, which I think they might, maybe only the rears.
We're seeing a battle on screen now between the 16 Motul NSX, Hideki Muto, just leading the Tachikawa in the 38 Zent LC500. They've been following each other around now for a few laps. They're not that far off the lead.
They're not, but they're also, at the moment, as you say, they're following each other around, which, again, when you see that in Super GT, when they're following like this, you start thinking, they're not pushing.
They're not.
They care about their tyres.
And they're just under 20 seconds off the pace. As you see a few more stoppers from the 300 category come in. They're only 20 seconds off the pace as it is at the moment. And if they're treating their tyres with a little bit of fragility, that could pay dividends much later on in this race.
I was just looking at the chat and didn't notice who that was in the pit stop. Who was it? It was a GT300.
It was 3 or 4 GT300s.
Okay, so they are stopping a lap 20. It's very early. I mean, that's in almost 2-stop territory. So unless the tyre wear is a lot higher than expected, they are going to run some very long second stints, which means you're going to run into a time management issue at the end of the race.
Well, not just from tyre wear as well, but you're going to be weighted down with additional fuel to run for the final 53 laps, is it?
Yeah, that's a very good point, and that's going to cost you a lot of pace. These two are, I think, holding...
They're holding station, really.
Yeah. Because they're in air, they were in clear air, so they can race. This is crucial. 28, and the keeper Tom's car is in. Nick Cassidy gets out. This is on schedule. All 4 tyres being changed after just 29 laps.
And a lot of brake dust coming off the front wheels from the, as we see the Mach 5 car in the garage.
I'm not sure that car is running the new upgrades from Dome on that 86 or not, but the Mach 5 is not always that competitive anyway.
As the tyres came off, the number 1 LC 500 keeper Tom's, a lot of brake dust coming off those front 2 tyres. So maybe that's also playing an issue with this kind of tight, twisty, but also very fast track.
Well, the keeper Tom's car did seem to be struggling for pace, but I think that's a lot down to the amount of ballast and fuel flow limitation it's running.
94 kilos in effect altogether.
94 kilos in total ballast, but it's made up of ballast and a fuel flow restriction. So these cars, like Formula 1, have fuel flow restrictors, an LMP1. And if everyone says fuel flow restrictors spoil racing, you're wrong. And in the pits comes the Keihin NSX. This should be quite interesting. On the tail, the Waycos, I think, has just tried to race him down the pit lane. There's a wall in the way, mate. You can't do that. He's still trying to get past. The BRZ gloriously out on its own there, actually, looking like a mini GT500.
Do you know what? Sitting very comfortably to a small degree with the 4th and 5th place cars.
Lead gaps up to 2.5 seconds at the front. We'll have to change that.
So we just had some compliments here in the studio.
So there is one of the Prius. That is the number. Oh, that's annoying.
That's the Crafts.
That's the 30.
Is the 31 or 30?
I don't know. They have a different colour window strip. I'm guessing it's the 31 because that's the one that's competitive. Hideki Muto and Tachikawa are still just following each other around the track. It's very sedate, though. It's not really a battle as the Waycos car leaves.
Well, that's it is maintaining a pace, playing the long game, I think.
And that's the Epson car in. So this seems to be the schedule, lap 30 for GT500 stops. It seems extremely early to me.
The other aspect as well, if you're going to do a long second stint, it's not just you losing maybe a little bit of time because you weight it down with extra fuel, but also the extra weight of fuel is going to play a big part in tyre wear on the rear tyres later on in this race if you go a long second stint as well.
Where it's just been confirmed, RJ O'Connell of Super GT World has just messaged over to us, and what I thought was the case. Hatsune Miku in the Zero Mercedes has been in the pits and left with only rear tyres. Didn't change the front tyres, so people are playing tyre games on this one. So this is going to be how this equals out. So these two look like they're playing tyre games. The Subaru definitely isn't. He's just off into the distance, but look at the gap. He's got 11 seconds now. Checking this out during the week, the pit lane delta at Sugo, because it is actually a much smaller pit lane, is somewhere in the region of 40 to 50 seconds. You then add on whatever your pit time is. So it is a much shorter pit lane. So the teams will be taking that into account as well. It's going to be a bit of a shorter stop for the cars here. The Mach 5 car is exiting the garage, so it wasn't terminal, whatever the problem was on that GT86. But Jan Mardenborough now up to 3 seconds lead in the Calsonic Nissan GT-R GT500. And look at the battle coming down the start-finish straight. It was the Craft sports car going right around the outside of the Waycos. That's not over. Unfortunately, we can't see that because the TV producer in Japan's got so excited, we're just watching the start-finish straight.
I think JTV have gone to an ad break.
I think they might have gone to an ad break and left us with the lots of cars warming their tyres down the start-finish line. Doesn't really help us to see what's going on. 2.1 seconds now, that gap for the lead. Raby can't hold off. There is the battle for third and fourth in GT500. We haven't really talked about the Mini Lamborghini. There's the number 88 car. There's two of them, the 87 and the 88. And they're very difficult to tell apart when you're trying to call the race. And that was that was a very strange.
That's a very good, bold move. Well done for Hirame in the 88 Mini Huracan. I wonder how much he even knew about that.
That was, yeah, he just went, I'll overtake him then.
It's almost as if he got on the brakes a little bit too late. The gap was there, and he was like, well, actually, you know what? I'll take the position anyway. As you see, the number 100 Raybrick NSX now 1.5 seconds behind.
I think they've changed their tyre strategy because he's just suddenly picked up the pace and got onto the back of it. There is Jan Mardenborough weaving down the start-finish straight. I think he was doing that to be seen. Into the pits comes the Motul NSX. That's the Mugen run car, as you can tell, with the massive Team Mugen logo.
Muto out, Nakajima getting in for this next stint. But I think it's crossed the point now at lap 32. It's probably too late, really, for a two-stop strategy, unless you're going to do a one very, very, very short stint at the end.
Yeah,
but
I don't think
at this point doesn't make sense.
I don't think you can make a two-stop strategy work here in a 300-kilometre race at Sportsland Sugo. 150 kilometres of each driver. There are driving rules, but don't really apply because you've got to use both drivers. But you know, with a race at this distance on this track, a two-stop won't work. But looking at the front of the field, there is Jan Mardenborough in an Dartford Tunnel-style traffic. Just behind them, there is second position, trying to get past that Golf Porsche. They're racing for position at the head of the field in a GT300. GT300 is now lapping GT300, so Mintzilla there is not on the same lap as the cars around it on the track. They see the difference between the GT3 specification and GT-R and the GT500 specification. And
very quietly as well, just playing in the race, is the number 8 Arta NSX. Still only 5 seconds or so behind the race leader, but just ticking the race over, not pushing too hard, not losing time either, just keeping that pace.
And that's key. I mean, being in the right place at the end of the race is what this is about, not being in the right place in the middle of the race. Jan Mardenborough, though, leads for Nissan at Sportsland Sugo. Mardenborough still to win a Super GT race overall. Has some class wins, but has never won overall. Nearly won the Fuji 500 and was just robbed at the last minute.
Yeah, really shocking end to the race for the number 12 Calsonic team at the Fuji 500 miles, which seems like such a long time ago.
So the Subaru is heading to the pits, lap 34. I think that's going to be that's a standard stop, all 4 tyres. The BRZ just is working around here.
And the other thing, Sam, is the BRZ goes into the pits, as you see there's number 6 Wacos car just behind. Won't come out in the lead, but probably will actually come out maybe within the top 5.
Yeah, and they're just looking so strong. The last race, of course, for late race win for this Trey O'Connell points out, you could see it actually in full on NISMO TV, was in Suzuka, 1,000 kilometres in 2016. It's been a while since the R&D Sports team and Subaru STI International, Subaru Technical International have won a race. This BRZ. Now, what is this BRZ? Well, a lot of people get confused about this. The Subaru BRZ is a JAF GT300 car, which means it utilises components from the real production car. That actually is a Subaru BRZ. There's some bodywork parts, some chassis parts, but the power comes from, as the mechanic nearly runs himself over somehow, the power comes from an EJ20 flat 4 engine. The box, obviously says Powder Boxer on the front of it, is derived from the Old World Rally Championship engines. There is the Raybrick in the pits now. Let's have an eye. What are they going to do on the tyres? They're rolling the dice.
They're still pitting earlier than the 12 Calsonic car.
Yeah, and the Calsonic car isn't losing too much ground. Jenson Button will be getting into this car now. There he is. And that is a terrible camera angle. They are changing tyres at the rear.
And at front,
and that's the wrong car. They changed some tyres. The new Dunlop's gone on the Subaru. They are changing the fronts as well, so all 4 tyres for the Raybrick. So they have decided to not go for the tyre change strategy, which means this is real. Mardenborough has an advantage now over the Raybrick car.
This is it's a front's going on first.
So now Jenson Button takes to the track in the Raybrick NSX. His job is simple. Drive as fast as you can, win the race, catch the number 12.
And just be interested to see how, if there are any issues for Button, getting tyre temperature into those Bridgestones on his outlap as we see the R2 number 8. Now,
That was nice, neat racing. No moral hazard penalty there.
but the R2 NSX lost something like 4 or 5 seconds over a couple of laps there, so I think he was over aggressive there, but probably needed to be to actually get through traffic. Yeah, R2 NSX has dropped even more time.
Well, the reason it's the R2 NSX, there's the gap opening up 13 seconds now between there it is the R2 NSX and the Calsonic car. Reason for that is the radio call went out to Jan Mardenborough, push, and he's just done a 14.8.
Oh, that's very, very fast. So he's gaining 4 seconds a lap over the R2 NSX over a space of a couple of laps.
Well, he's currently running quicker than anybody else on track with old tyres. The new tyres take a couple of laps to come in, so we'll see what Button can do in a couple of laps' time. But Mardenborough is on a mission to win this.
Absolutely, and
which sounds like a silly thing to say in a motor race, but everybody's on a mission to win it. But he came into this. And when I just got a message at the beginning of the track, the beginning of the race, it just said one word: nervous. And I've never heard him say that.
That is a man on a mission. We see the 38 Sensurumo in the pits. Change the tyres, fuel, and go as the number 36 AU LC500.
That's the Tilms team.
It's Sekaguchi in now.
Slightly slow stop there. The
you know
mechanic's pointing him away and he didn't go.
They had slow stops in Fuji for the 500 miles as well, actually.
Yeah, that was like I might watch that stop again. What was going on? So you watch the track. I'm just watching the replay of that stop.
I'm only seeing cars, lots and lots and lots of cars.
It's just my life.
As you see the 24 Forum Engineering GT-R into the pits. JP Oliveira out, Takaboshi into the car now.
There was an issue with the left rear on the AU Tom's car. Here's the number 23 Motor Lawtech car. That is the NISMO team run car. That is the full-on works car.
It's the red car.
It is the red car.
But theoretically, it's the blue car that's leading the race.
The blue car is leading the race. But
still making those tyres last.
Yeah, and well.
Probably will actually be one of the last stoppers at this race.
Here's the slightly less blue car, the Forum Engineering GT-R GT500 now. The Craft Sports car has already stopped. The 23 and 24 are in the pits. There's the 23 in the background. We're getting all 4 tyres. There goes the 24, the Forum Engineering car, leaving the only Nissan still to stop. Yeah, Mardenborough. 44 laps to go.
I do think actually Mardenborough may be the only 500 car out there that's still on its original set of tyres.
Jenson Button's now tyres are up to temperature in his GT500 Honda. He just ran a 1 minute 15.8 second lap. Yeah, Mardenborough on those old tyres, 1 minute 15.6.
We saw some fantastic tyre management for Mardenborough earlier in this stint. And is playing out very nicely as this race has actually gone on.
Look at those lap times, like from lap 33, you can literally see when that radio call went out to save seconds up. But he's coming in now, lap 38, pretty much bang on schedule. Daiki Sasaki is going to take the car over from Jan Mardenborough. This is crucial. 14 seconds separate the top 2, but the R2 NSX is also due to stop. And in the pits now comes Jan Mardenborough. A big lump of something on the pit entry there.
That came off earlier in the race, actually, where there was a gaggle of about 6 or 7 GT300s coming across the line almost at the same time.
Mardenborough ran those tyres to the end, lost 6/10 of a second in Sector 1, and they decided to call it. That's what they were looking for. All 4 tyres being changed on number 12, Nissan GT-R GT500. You're watching Super GT live on NISMO TV, and indeed, a Nissan GT-R is leading this race at Sportsland Sugo. 43 laps to go or so. It's not actually, it's 42 laps to go. And they're shouting in the pit lane because they're excited. This Calsonic car, it's been a long time. And the R2 NSX is in as well.
So this is all the final stoppers now for GT500.
But that means the R2 NSX is not going to be able to see that advantage coming. Car goes out, that stop looked good.
43.8, that's comparable with the Raybury car.
Yeah, quicker than the AU Toms, of course. Now, let's look at the track. No tyre warmers, so you'll see him very slow on track. Daiki Sasaki will be very slow as he comes out. Cold tyres. There's the Raybrig NSX, driven by Jenson Button, coming up the start-finish line. So, we haven't seen. There's Button just cresting the rise of the hill. Leaving the pits is Daiki Sasaki. The pit limiter is still on, still on. Now he can open the throttles. Look behind him and you'll see Button hunting him down. But Button's on warm tyres, remember?
And Sasaki on cold tyres, as we've seen in GT500 this year and in other championships such as DTM, you can lose up to 4 seconds a lap on cold tyres exiting the pits. As we see the Raybrig 100 right on the tail of Sasaki there. This is for...
this is the battle for the lead. And Button turns up the inside and Button leads. Jenson Button takes the lead from the Calsonic. But we did see this in the first stint, remember? The Nissan slump at the early point.
Is it a slump or just management?
It's a bit of both, I think.
And of course, as you said, Button, his tyres up to temperature now and able just to put his foot on the throttle with absolute confidence, knowing that the car is going to respond in the way he wants it to.
Just remember, I mean, as Button extends that lead, don't forget that the Calsonic's tyres are still a way off getting up to temperature. The only car in the field not to stop, Heikki Kovalainen.
Still recovering from that incident in qualifying. He had a bit of an off. It actually looked a lot more dramatic than it actually was. He dressed himself in some of the advertising tarmac Adam that kind of covers the tyres.
It was all the hoardings, and when the marshal went out to dig the car out, it was literally the marshal was picking up the bits with one hand. It was that foam barrier.
Yeah. Now to be interesting, what's key is how much time does Sasaki lose on these opening laps on the cooler tyres?
Well, about as much as you can see. About that. There you go. You can see it on the screen what the time losses are.
And that's interesting. For the as you see the total times in the pits and out of the pits, the difference between the 100 Raybrig and the 12 Calsonic, with the 108 Raybrig gaining 4 seconds, 4.6 seconds in the total.
And that's pretty much the gap between first and second.
But also much faster pit in as well.
Yeah, that was the difference. That Mardenborough ran the tyres right to the end, but look, 107 plays 112, and that is why the Raybrig NSX is leading this race. But will this man, Daiki Sasaki, be able to do anything about it? Well, meanwhile, the number 23 Motul Ortec Nissan GT-R, driven by Ronnie Quintarelli, is hunting down Yuji Kunimoto.
It really does look like Brands Hatch, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It's wonderful out on the on the Grand Prix loop. And Ronnie is trying to work it out.
As you see, Kunimoto really fighting off Quintarelli to the back end of the circuit. But I mean, Quintarelli, he is a fighter. He's a very, very, very aggressive driver.
Trouble for that's a tie down on the Fukushima Audi. About Ronnie.
Very, very, very aggressive driver. And if you really want someone who can really pull for positions and go for it, Quintarelli is one of those drivers who'll do. And it's just a blow up on the straight.
Yeah.
That's unusual, unless he ran over some debris.
Well, there was debris down there. It's not going to bring out the safety car yet.
Just hope it doesn't blow the tyre all over the circuit. Although, as we've mentioned a few times, it is quite a short track. You should be able to get to the pits relatively quickly, as the gap is 3 seconds between the 100 Raybrig and the 12 Calsonic. Ignore the fact that the second and third at the moment, the 39 Denso car still hasn't actually gone into the pits, as we see Takaboshi challenging Nakajima for 6th place, and not quite getting a run through there, but Takaboshi looking very, very, very aggressive at this stage.
So just looking at the questions coming in on the chat, Audi's still struggling its way around. We'll come to your questions in a little moment. I'm just wanting to look at a couple other things going on around the track.
Is
battle going on, yeah.
Is Takaboshi going to be able to get a run into turn one? Not quite. And the NSX does seem to have very good straight line pace. So when it comes to exiting the final corner, Nakajima is able just to pull out just enough to keep Takaboshi at bay. Once you get into the middle part of the circuit, It is clear that the Forum Engineering GT-R just has a lot more pace than the Motul NSX. As they going through traffic. Nakajima just maintaining a small but important gap to Takaboshi there. As they weaved their way through the GT300 traffic, and now Takaboshi coming through, still following Nakajima around for 6th place as we change now to the 8th and 9th place battle. This is the 19 Wedsport LC500 with Kunimoto. Oh, and really cut across the front of Quintarelli. Aggressive and a half, I think, is the best way to phrase that. Almost pushing Quintarelli towards the edge of the circuit and off.
Yeah, he ain't going to like that. He ain't going to like that one bit, and he's going to do something about it. So the car bottoming out on the left rear there.
And you can just see he's taking an almost different line to... And
Oh,
Kunimoto pushing Quintarelli very close to the pit lane into the wall. Quintarelli's really not... That's twice in one lap that Kunimoto's done that. As they go wheel to wheel around the first corner, the long lingering right-hander, and Quintarelli's done it, and he's going to be very happy to be ahead of Kunimoto.
Yeah, but he clobbered that massive piece of debris on the pit entry.
Kunimoto pushed Quintarelli very close to the edge twice in that one lap.
Quick question from Hill on the chat. Keep the questions coming. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe here on NISMO TV. Hill says, how does the pace of these cars compare to European GT3? Way faster is the answer in GT500. In GT3, or GT300, about the same. Hatsune Miku at the Spa, 24 hours. Well, in the Suzuka 10 hours rather, 5th overall.
5th overall,
yeah,
yes.
competitive. So they're about the same as the top GT3 cars in Europe. But look at the battle for the lead. Well, this is the real battle for the lead. It doesn't say it on your screen, but 1.1 seconds. Traffic's making a difference. Daiki Sasaki's coming back at Jensen Button. There he is. That Prius isn't helping.
Nakajima and Takaboshi now still going at it for 6th and 7th place. And Takaboshi's really pushing Nakajima now in the Forum Engineering car, really looking to take that place back.
Yeah,
from the NSX.
Ferrari Fanatic 9 just has quite correctly put that move, that aggressive driving down the start-finish straight on running. Yeah, was it a moral hazard?
I would say it was. I thought it was very, but not just once, but twice in that lap. Kunimoto cut right across the front of Quintarelli, and I mean moves like that on the pit straight you don't necessarily want to see in motorsport, especially with cars this fast, this aggressive.
It forced, what concerns me, it did force 23 onto that big chunk of debris, and you know, a puncture would be catastrophic there, as we saw for that Audi, actually, not that one, the other one. Nakajima, Takaboshi fighting this one out.
Interesting strategy though from the current race leader, the 39 Denso LC500 with Heikki Kovalainen. Of course, started last, crashed out in qualifying, and realistically, should he stop now, may bring him to the bottom end of the top 10, possibly 8th, 9th, to 10th place. So, although in the grand scheme of things, it may not look like an obvious strategy, it may be something to pay some small dividends later on in this race.
Cyclops 924 says, any chance we could see some collaborations going on between different people? And NISMO TV always works with different people. There's lots of videos to come up, so don't forget to hit like and subscribe and explore what else is coming up on NISMO TV. As the number 23 just went off the track, the camera cut away at the wrong point. Car 23, Daiki Sasaki, has gone off. I don't know if he hit the wall or not. Sasaki was off. He's in trouble.
Well, it looked like some debris almost from the...
He just drove off the track. I don't know if he got into some dirty, onto a bad part of the track, but he's gone off the track. He's in trouble. Sasaki's in trouble.
And I think there's been an issue with the number 12 as well. I could have swore I saw some debris coming out the back.
No, something came off the front, left front there. You're right.
And yeah, he was actually depositing dirt across the start-finish straight. So yeah, the 12 went off, lost 6 seconds. He looked slow and looked like he was depositing dirt, and that's it. He's gone off the track, regained it, but lost 6 seconds in the process.
That is not good. That has cost him. Hasn't cost him a position, but could it cost him? Look at all the grass in the cooling ducts. He could have an overheating problem caused by that.
There's 25 Hoppy. 86 comes into the pits. I think it's a second stop.
Keep an eye. No, I don't think it is. Keep an eye on its tyre. Show Super giving over to Matsuo. No, it says this is the scheduled stop. We didn't see if he did tyres or not, though, unfortunately, because they were not looking. Well, well, well. Let's see how things pan out for the number 12 Calsonic car. Daiki Sasaki took it off the track in a slightly odd way. He's handed the advantage to this car, the Raybrick NSX, driven by Jenson Button.
And still happy just to maintain the pace in second position, knowing full well that the race leading number, the 39 Denso car has just actually pitted. So the 100 Raybrick with Jenson Button now leads the race. Kovalainen has stopped.
Yeah. Oh, he has stopped. Okay, I didn't spot that. We didn't. Yes, he has.
We haven't seen it on screen, but he has actually just stopped that lap around.
Yeah, we're seeing it. So there is the second position in the race.
And
look at the gap. 10 seconds. That's what it cost him. But look, I'm worried about all that grass. In the cooling, it's going to make problems for brake cooling and engine cooling.
And the number 8 Arta NSX back into third place now.
Yeah, well, there is Hoshino-san, and I'm not sure he's super happy about that. There is an interview with Hoshino about Super GT, the number 12, and the blue car on NISMO TV. I think it's on NISMO TV. If it's not, it's coming up on NISMO TV, so don't forget to hit like and subscribe. There's an excellent video with Michael Crum. Just gone in. There's bits of puff of blue smoke. The car is bottoming out in places, but is there a tyre failure coming? There's Jenson Button, though. Is he on course for his first ever Super GT victory?
And a second place in Okayama earlier on this year. Due mostly to some very, very good driving and tyre strategy from Yamamoto and Button.
Yeah. His first podium since something ridiculous like 2012, 2013, when he won the last race of the year in a McLaren, and that was it. Hasn't been on a podium since. The gap's coming down again, though. 9.7.
But I wonder, with a gap of 9.7 seconds, have the pit told Button you can cool it slightly.
Yes, because he did a 117 last time by.
And also stuck in traffic to a degree, and
well, he's been off. There's many stories from the likes of Rob Barth about drivers who may have been. There's another Lexus that's been off. Drivers deny that they've been off track, and then the mechanics pull the grass out of the front of the car.
Yeah, lots of lawn mowing going on at the circuit today.
Yeah, it is lawn mowing going on. That's a good way to put it. British Lawnmower Championship Racing, not covered on NISMO TV.
By the way, the GT300, the number 50 AMG currently leads, but the actual proper GT300 leader, the 61 Subaru BRZ, is currently third place, really just waiting for others to take their stops to regain the lead. They've got a 10-second gap over the number 10 Gainer GT-R, and an additional 10 seconds over the third place car in the real-life third place car in GT300. So that will work itself out in the next few laps as well. Good effort, though, on some of those GT300 cars to make it to lap 50.
Yeah, well, we've seen the Lotus go long quite often, but the Saitama Toyota Mark X, the Toyota Mark X in second position, the Arto RCF in fourth. They're going long on this strategy, trying to make it work for them using what we call the Lotus strategy, though notably the Lotus isn't following the Lotus strategy. Interesting question, or interesting point raised by Yunos, and I forget the rest of his name because it popped off my screen, but on the chat, suggesting that the number 12 may be missing one of its front dive planes. We have to wait to have a look next time by.
So we didn't see, because we had the back end shot, we didn't see any loss of parts of the car, but it's quite possible. as the gap between the leading NSX, the number 100 NSX, and the number 12 Calsonic, Sasaki, is now 8.7 seconds. There's still 31 laps left to go. Plenty can still happen. So you see a battle for 5th place still going on between Nakajima and the 60 model NSX and the 24 Forum Engineering GT-R with Takaboshi. And Takaboshi took a look there, and it's not a very usual place to actually have
that move was never on.
You could argue maybe he's trying to get in the mirrors of Nakajima, but Nakajima's not going to fall for that at this stage. He's been racing for quite a long time, and you're never going to get a car through there on that left-hander.
Yeah, this is it's an interesting one because the number 24 car, the Forum Engineering GT-R, is weaving to get tyre temperature, or is he weaving to put the other driver off?
Very, very good point too. Very, very good point too. As we see the Wed Sport car and the AU36 fighting over 8th and 9th position. It's Kunimoto and Sekiguchi driving those cars. A lot of these drivers I actually know from Formula 3, Sam. Back when they raced in Japan and did their annual treks to Macau. So it's often quite satisfying to see a lot of these young drivers that you do come across. And I covered Mardenborough when he was a young man, to see them go into top level professional motorsport like the SuperGT series.
Well, you're watching SuperGT on NISMO TV. Live and uninterrupted and free and on demand and all those other good things. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe though, because the more likes to get, more racing we can bring you here on NISMO TV. And yes, as Hill says, it is amazing we show this for free. But it's brilliant, isn't it? Watching the race work its way through the 3.7 kilometers at Sportsland Sugo. You're looking at the Wed Sport LC500 in 8th position of Kunimoto, being hunted down by Sekiguchi in the Tom's AU car. Now, mechanically, these cars are identical. They both come out of TRD's facility in Yokohama, but they're run by different teams. One of the cars is on Yokohama tyres. The other one is on Bridgestones.
And realistically, Sam, one of very, very few championships left around at the moment that does have tyre competition, and it's a very welcome sight as well.
Now, this is a crucial conversation. So, the NISMO engineers there in the red and grey jackets are discussing with the Calsonic Team Impel guys something about this number 12 car. I think they've got overheating problems on that car with all the grass in the front. They're trying to work out what to do. Can the car run the race distance without
blowing itself up?
Blowing itself up, essentially, with this new spec engine as well. It's going to be quite a test.
Especially, you don't get a huge amount of clear air here because it's actually such a small circuit, and you have 43 cars, well, probably 41 cars on track at the moment. You're not actually getting very much clean air, clear running at this circuit. So you spend a lot of time sitting behind other cars, lapping them, overtaking them, and actually sitting in their heat, as it were.
Yeah, and look at the lap times there, 17, 16, 15, 19. And I know there's been some traffic. Look, there's a lot of radio communication now going on.
Are they telling him to cool it slightly then?
I think they are.
And at which point does the number 8 Arta NSX come into play? The gap is between the 100 Raybrig and the second place 12 Calsonic is now 13 seconds, 13.1 seconds. Sasaki's dropped 3.3 seconds on that last lap alone.
Yeah, and you look around him, that's not traffic. Yes, there's a little bit of GT300 traffic around there, but that car has an issue.
I think he's cooling. I think he's told, and the Arta NSX is now only 2.8 seconds behind him. Either he pits or he has to keep on this reduced pace. But that's definitely not traffic anymore. I think that's him driving as slowly as possible at this point.
Yeah, I think it's because the front of... Yeah, there is the Arta NSX. So the problem is, what the team are facing is, if they stay out, they risk blowing the car up. If they pit, well, they're out of contention anyway because the field's so close at the front. Didn't pit this time by staying out on track, keeping a close eye on the pit lane crew. There they are.
Very, very frantic discussions there on the pit wall for the number 12 Calsonic team, the Impul team.
Senior NISMO staff down there as well.
And I mean, even compared to the 300s, yes, obviously it's faster. The Calsonic 12 GT-R is faster, but it's not so aggressively fast as we've seen with the Arta NSX coming up just behind him. And he is right behind it. He's only 1.4 seconds now.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to hold off the Arta car.
This is going to be done very, very soon. And that's the number 12 Calsonic almost looks sluggish. If you see Takua Atsawa, he's enjoying this moment, about to go into second place.
And yeah, I mean, you can see what the gap is.
And the Arta NSX is not going to be in any rush to get this done, because it probably will be quite simple when it comes down to it.
Well, the team will have been on the radio to the Arta NSX and would have said, look, the Calsonic car in front of you has got a problem. We think he's overheating, so you can get around quite easily.
As they come out the final corner now, and the Arta NSX has a good run, coming down the start-finish straight. So close enough to make the move. He looks down the inside, doesn't make it go this time actually, but did look as if he was going to make a move, and then thought, no, maybe not, I don't have to do it yet. The Arta NSX is going to go through.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
unless he doesn't need to make a risky, silly move.
Exactly, unless Sasaki decides to, go for it and hope it doesn't blow up and just push. Push and hope for the best. But, in a car sponsored by a company that makes heat exchangers and coolers, I think they know pretty well how much cooling that car needs.
They'll also probably be working out on the pit wall just where could Sasaki finish if he keeps running to the end at a reduced pace.
Yeah.
So as I said, if he pits, that takes him completely out of contention, because even a drive-through in the pit lane is still going to be 40, 50 seconds.
I really feel for Jan Mardenborough, obviously nearly winning the Fuji 500, on course for victory at Sugo.
And drove a fantastic stint here.
Yeah. And still doesn't quite get it done. Look at those lap times, 1:15s for the Arta NSX, 1:17s and 18s for the Calsonic.
And the Arta NSX really just sat behind the Calsonic improves to a 16.2 this time round, takes a second off his lap stop, and the Arta NSX is kind of following now at the moment, also in the 16s.
Shio, first time we've spoken about him, big fan of this channel, NISMO TV, is now right on the back of Sekiguchi and these two Lexus.
Kunimoto, who's battling with earlier on with Quintarelli, actually dropped quite a bit of time in the last few laps, falling into that battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th, as we look again at the second place battle between the number 12 Calsonic GT-R and the number 8 Arta NSX. That's Sasaki and Nohira in the wheels of those cars. Interesting, the jury doesn't seem to have he's closed onto the back of the Calsonic, but doesn't seem to be making any great inroads onto him. Whilst Daiki Sasaki the car seems to be running well. It'd be interesting to see those lap times again. So they were both in the 16s last time around, whereas previously the Arta NSX was in the 15s and Sasaki was in the 17s. But I think it's coming soon.
Yeah, I think so. He's going to have a run down into turn 1, I think. Yeah, absolutely is. He's got the toe. He's going to go up the inside. The TV cameraman has noticed, and he's just got it done.
It's done.
Yeah.
But that was coming. Now, it's a case very much as where's the 4th place car?
Yes, indeed. That is going to be an interesting one. I think there may be a bit of a gap. There is. But that is bad news for NISMO.
It's happy enough with that anyway. Gives the thumbs up to the wrong camera.
Yeah, he does actually. The number 8. Now, can Nojiri do anything about the race leader? I don't think he can.
I think it's nearly 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's nearly 20 seconds. I think he actually sat behind Sasaki for quite a long time as well, which allowed Button to extend the gap even further.
Ooh, and there's a great battle going on there as Chio has got past the AU Tom's car and had a go on the Wed Sport, but didn't quite get it stuck, and they nearly came to blows. There's Hatsune Miku, first time I've really seen her, and off the road brig's gone off. Jensen Button's gone off. He's got problems. He's lost, I don't know if he lost tyre temperature, it's exactly the same as the Calsonic. The same place, it's a carbon copy.
An exact same kind of off. We would like to see a replay of that, see exactly how that happened. And I'm about to get one. Now, does he get caught out by traffic? I think he does.
No, he just went offline. It's a carbon copy. He just didn't get quite as much grass as
I think he pulled it back.
as Sasaki did, yeah. So he's not going to have that problem, but he's gone off in exactly the same way. Now, how much time did he lose? Well. Only a few seconds, but he's lost tyre temperature now, so that's not going to help.
But I do wonder, because he was behind a line of traffic, if maybe he just got caught out slightly and was on the wrong line.
It's exactly. Oh, look at that though! Look at the grass.
And that could be the similar issue too, as we've seen in the.
It is. They're going to have the cooling problems. The Honda as well has very, very long cooling channels that run right from the front of the car to the back where the intercooler are, and those cooling channels are blocked. They're full of grass. His cooler. Now Button may have thrown away his first race victory.
This race isn't over yet.
Arta NSX could be now the car to beat.
Loses a second, although he's gained about 3/10 in that final sector.
It's funny how they keep on going off in the same spot. I don't think there's oil down or anything like that, but
Marbles.
it was too early for the marbles. Stephen Jackson's comment appears just after we answer the question.
I'd wonder if it is tyre marbles, because they do use more of the inside line coming through that final corner.
But I think it's marbles from Formula 4. And there was an FIA F4 race here just before the Super GT race. Because it caught out Daiki Sasaki, and it's now caught out Jenson Button. It's Corner of Doom.
Doom corner.
That's actually just Final Corner. That's the official name of it. Just saying.
Now we have the 38 Zenit Sugo LC500, only 1 second behind Sasaki in a number 12 Calsonic GT-R.
Yeah, I mean, he's losing so much time now. It's.
But I think it is the right decision to leave him out.
It's all you can do in this situation, but he's in a.
It could have dire consequences, but not to the degree that you have in other championships when it comes to replacing engines and whatnot.
Exactly. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Arta NSX can be doing about the brake rig, though. The brake rig is in that overheating phase. 3/4 of the distance done here, lap 60 here on NISMO TV, Sportsland Sugo. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Follow our social media channels for lots more motorsport action for British GT, Blancpain Endurance, Blancpain GT Sprint, Formula E news, and even Micro Cup.
You really want to compete in that, don't you?
I do, yeah.
The number 38 actually lost quite a bit of time there. It was blocked by I think one of the GT300 cars in the middle of the circuit. As we see another gaggle of cars. Oh, is
that green Mercedes, there it is.
And who's sliding around the track.
It's caused issues for a few other cars, and it's not using his mirrors particularly well. Every other car, when a GT500 car seems to encounter this EXE Mercedes, it just seems to be getting in their way. Amateur drivers in some of these GT300 cars, professional drivers only in the GT500s.
Could really get the mirrors from a London bus put on the side of that car. Probably still wouldn't see the 38 coming through.
Need to get one of those natty sort of cameras with the position markers that Corvette have used for a few years. And I think they have those in the GT500s as well, but not so much on the old spec Mercedes.
Meanwhile, in GT300, the 61 Subaru BRZ.
Chia got through. Didn't see it.
And I think this is where it's going to be the inside. Brave. But I think the 19 Wedsport just got caught out completely by the 21 there.
Yeah, it was the Audi there. Just
clever move, intelligent. Yeah. Very good. Intelligent racing.
Chio's picked up the pace and checked out. Off he goes. Now, 8th position. How far up can he get? It's not going to be all that long till he encounters Jan Mardenborough.
Jan Mardenborough's in the pits.
Hatsimi, the old rival of Hoshino.
But the 38 Zenit Sugo, as far as we can see, still hasn't actually made the move on Sasaki for 3rd place. Taking the time about it. As we go back to Iguchi, as we mentioned in the 61 Subaru BRZ, leading GT300 with ease.
Hoppy 86 is in trouble.
Slow.
Left, is the right front down a little or something? It's got fire. That's important for the championship in GT300. Hoppy 86 extremely competitive. And it was running quite high up the field. And they're talking to the driver, but clearly they need to come and pit in for something. Don't know what the issue with that car is.
Nice.
Can't tell what it is. Oh, they're very polite. Otherwise it'd be a moral hazard penalty. Don't want to be impolite. Speed difference there is quite huge.
I mean, it's not. We don't see any tyre rub or any flailing rubber or anything like that. It's not suspension, I don't think.
The engine hasn't conked out or blown up because you can hear it running.
Locked in gear?
Maybe. Though the gearboxes on those mother chassis cars are pretty reliable. It's a Hewland, off the shelf.
Now, what's interesting, Sam, is we have the 38 Zensurumo car there. 5th place is an additional 10 seconds behind 3rd and 4th place at the moment. So it's not inconceivable. It's not inconceivable that Sasaki may still at least be able to hang on to a top 4, which, considering the off and considering the what we think may be potential cooling issues, a lot of the grass is gone. And
he's Sasaki's obviously getting a call that the car has cooled, and he's picked up the pace suddenly. Look, the Zent car's just suddenly been dropped as Sasaki's picked up the pace down a 1:16. Just literally raised the pace by 2 seconds a lap. Here's the Hoppy car. Hoppy, a popular non-alcoholic beer type beverage.
You can be happy with a Hoppy.
I very much like it. It's one of my favourite things to drink. Very refreshing. And trouble for the Wedsport.
Is that tyre going down on the right rear?
I'm not sure. I think that might be engine. No, it's right front. It's right front tyre. Right front tyre has got an issue. It's rubbing. He's not pitted. He's not pitted though.
He's gone past the pits.
Well, that was stupid.
Does
he know? Yeah,
I wonder, has he realised?
He must be able to hear that.
He must be able to feel it.
Yeah. Well, that's odd. Well, he's going to lose that 12th position. He doesn't really mind. Not that's competitive now, but he's lost time. But this is the point. 64 laps complete out of 81. Well, this is lap 64 anyway. And, well, there's a lot going on. Even with damage, look how much faster the GT500 is than the GT300 Subaru in front. So, let's see what happens. Oh, he looped it, so he knew there was damage. So,
unless he damaged it while during the incident.
Yeah, he must have done, yeah. Or was it cause or effect? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
But it's slowing him surely now.
Well, you can't drive if that's tyre rub, which it is. It'll reach the. Or is it tyre rub? Does that come from the exhaust?
Well,
yeah, I think he might be on fire.
He's lost 9 seconds on that lap alone, which includes the spin, I think.
Just trying to see. It looked to me just for a moment. I don't know if it was because
now he's much slower.
I'm not sure if it because the smoke was coming from. No, it is from the right front. It is the right front tyre. It's not coming from the exhaust. It just looks like it is because the smoke is going through the car. Hoppy in the garage. They're going to try and turn it off and on again, I guess, but
not so happy.
No.
And
no, you know that is fire.
He's not even made it to his pit garage. And if it is fire, the pit garage is not where he wants to be necessarily.
No. Well, the Zensurumo now goes right on the back of Daiki Sasaki in the number 12 blue car, the Calsonic Nissan GT-R GT500.
I wonder if he's got the message. Shira's got the message to actually go for it because Sasaki's actually speeded up.
Crispin Seguta suggests that perhaps it was the clutch on the Hoppy 86. Not a bad suggestion, that.
Yeah, quite possibly, actually.
There's the rare, lesser spotted Hatsune Miku.
Ishura has actually not been quite as aggressive in traffic these last few laps. He's tended to kind of hold back slightly, and now he's looking like he is really going to attack Sasaki in a number 12 Calsonic GT-R now.
He's certainly positioning himself to have a run on that blue car, and well, there we see the Wedsport car is now properly on fire. They open the bonnet, I think you'd see flames. Meanwhile, car that's definitely getting hot is Daiki Sasaki there in the number 12 Calsonic car, being chased by the Zensurumo Lexus. It's a matter of time, that, I think.
Absolutely. I think the producer.
The producer's getting his
disagrees.
cars. No, he's getting his cars confused. No. I'll make this very simple for you. We're not. It's the Hoppy 86 that has the clutch problem, possibly, not the on-fire Wed Sport car, which is on fire.
Sasaki's still getting decent drive out in the final corner, and that's actually keeping Ashura somewhat at bay. The gap is still sticking around at half a second to 1 second marker, and Ashura is not able to make that final move to close up and actually take the position.
Well, she looks very nervous.
Wouldn't you?
No. Just look at the gaps. I mean, so it's 2 seconds down to 6/10. It's going to be just get the right moment and go for it. And there's some clear air at the moment.
That traffic ahead could play a big part in whether Sasaki maintains or loses this third place.
It's got a lot of defending to do to hold on to third position there.
But the 16 Motul NSX in 5th place has not gained on them.
No. What'll be interesting to see is the lap times of Jenson Button at the moment, because we know he's had off and we know his coolers are all blocked up as well. Sasaki is picking up the pace, getting those 116s in, which is why the Zenit Tsurumo hasn't quite managed to get that move done as quickly as we expected. 115.8, so Sasaki's really picking up the pace.
And are they told to push to maintain the whole that podium, or the cooling numbers on the pit wall really have dropped to a nominal level?
The question just came in on the chat that you might know the answer. Christian Seguta says, is Felix Rosenquist staying in GT500 next year? I have no idea.
I haven't heard. Felix has so many options open to him, and I really must ask... oh, there's an off!
It's Prius. It's the 31.
It's the 31. It's
and that'll be a safety car for absolute certain.
And buried, really buried. Now, what's happened here? It's a hit. No. Oh! Speared into the left rear and then side impact into the tyre barriers.
So you know what this means. That's exactly where Heikki Kovalainen. Look how well buried, isn't it?
That's exactly where Kovalainen crashed in qualifying.
So that's got to be a safety car, surely, with a car that far off the track and in the line of fire. They're going to have to get marshals out to get... Well, they're going to have to dig the driver out for starters. He can't get out the car at the moment. Oh, no, he is. He's fine.
But can they get the car out?
Oh, he's not happy. He's not happy.
But can they get the car out? Because
No.
the car is buried. They need to actually remove that car. So
They'll have to bring out the snatch tractor, but will that require a safety car? Now, look at this. The Lexus gets up the inside.
It's never on in a million years. Not in a million years.
And just push the Prius in the wall. The driver is furious.
Kohei Hirate.
And now let's see what the officials do. Are they going to call a safety car? A safety car would be fantastic at this point of the race, actually.
It'd be quite crazy in what has already been a
well, you've got
busy race.
You've got the race leader who is overheating. You've got the car in third, which is overheating, and the car in second that isn't. And it would obviously close up the field, and it would give us a very different result if there was a safety car right now.
And of course, safety car restarts, as we've seen, Sam, very, very different in Super GT.
They stop the whole entire field and reshuffle it, so you don't have any of these cars out of position. Well, I think if they were going to call the safety car, they would have done it by now.
Yeah.
So they may just leave the Prius there, which is surprising because people have been off in that point already. There's our race leader.
Of course, another driver who certainly doesn't want to, or another entry certainly doesn't want to see a safety car would be the leader GT300, the 61 Subaru BRZ, who frankly have absolutely dominated the GT300 class this weekend, as we see. Button the gap now down to just over 7 seconds to the number 8 Arta NSX.
He is losing too much time at the moment.
The gap is, as it's just over 7 seconds. There's 12 laps to go.
That puff of dust from the Calsonic car, Daiki Sasaki, that tells you one thing. He's pushing.
He's really leaning out to the edge of the circuit now in a wonderful attempt to hold off Ishura in the 38th Tsurumo.
Yeah, so no safety car. So they'll be doing it with the throw vehicle. The first response, there it is. And they're just going to drag the Prius out, well, somehow. Ah, safety car.
Yeah, safety car is out. And that's, I think, once they sent the emergency vehicle out, they realized just how deeply buried it was and came to the conclusion that they cannot just get out. They have to actually get diggers onto the circuit.
So basically, curse of the commentator, as soon as I said they're not going to do safety car, they did the safety car. When I said they did the safety car, well. Right, Super GT safety car procedure. This is different.
And as you see on screen there, safety car out. The pit lane is closed. We're not going to have any stops this late in the race, but the pit lane is closed either way. Should anyone want to do maybe a tricky strategy, you're not going to be able to do that. Now, the cars will go around and they will eventually form on the grid with the GT500 cars on the right-hand side of the grid, lining up in position order, the left-hand side of the screen as you see them. Then the GT300 cars will line up on the left-hand side of the grid, or the right-hand side of the screen as you're watching them. So they will be in position and not overlapping.
This is terrible news for both the Calsonic and the Rig cars, because they have, whilst they can cool, there's heat soak that goes on in those cars. You don't want to sit on the grid. 11 laps to go. This safety car period is going to have to come to an end pretty quickly, because otherwise it's going to be about a 5-lap dash.
What will also happen, of course, is when they do eventually get going again, is will the NSX have any issues with loss of tyre temperature?
Yes.
Because we've seen they're struggling to get tyre temperature earlier on in stops and at the start of the race, and of course they will cool significantly, as you see the reason once again for this safety car. And this, I mean, I don't know quite. Okay, there's a gap there, but it's always going to close.
Yeah, but the Prius should have seen him up the inside as well, actually. Kohei Hirata should have seen him there, but he was trying to stay out of the way of that GT500 car behind. Yeah. I don't think that is a moral hazard.
I think it's just silly.
Yeah, it was an unnecessary off.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that pans out in the field. I hope we're not going to be in the situation that we had a few years ago. Oh, that's going to hurt.
All I can say is the driver of the AMG is a very, very silly boy.
Well, we will see how this pans out.
But as you were saying, the NSX is on the grid will lose all their tyre temperature, and that's going to take a few laps to build up again as one of the gainer cars.
That's surprising, because they were quite high up in the GT3, and the pit lane is closed, so they will get a penalty. There must have been a puncture. That was so they will get a penalty for this, because you cannot make a pit stop at the moment. New set of Dunlops going on that now. I hope we're not in the situation that we saw. Oh, he's got a right front problem. I hope we're not in the situation that we saw a few years ago here at Sugo, or was it Autopolis, where we didn't get the end of the race because of a safety car late in that event. So the race just ended early and didn't go the distance. I don't think they're going to do that here. However, this is the first, as various people have pointed out, this is the first safety car in Super GT since Suzuka in last year.
No, safety car earlier this year.
Nope. When?
Give me a minute.
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Suzuka 300.
There you go. Suzuka 300.
And it was when Kovalainen binned it.
Ah, good point. Yeah.
Under the bridge.
Yep.
After the Dagners. See, they were not taken.
Well, we didn't see it on track what happened, but the Lotus seems to have died. Now, the pit lane is closed. The gainer car has pitted.
So that will be a drive-through penalty, then, won't it?
It'll be a penalty of some sort. Probably stop-go. Now...
And it has to be taken under green, I believe.
Yes. Triple Crown Racing. Well, he wasn't the only... We were just talking about the chat. Triple Crown Racing said it's the first one. He said it was the first one. But he wasn't the only person to say that. I think RJ O'Connell said the same as well.
RJ O'Connell.
He's grumpy.
I think it'll be debrief. No. It'll be interesting in the debrief, just for both Button and Sasaki, to get info as to why they went off.
It looked like they'd just got onto the marbles, to be honest. Well, Jan Mardenborough, we just saw there having a chat. I wanted to overhear him, but he twigged the cameras on him and knows we're listening in, so he didn't say anything. Now, here we see the GT500 cars about to form up on the... No, they're not. They're going around again.
For another lap.
10 laps to go. And I want them to stop this so we get a full 10-lap shootout, because it's going to be thrilling.
Only a touch frantic. And actually, one must feel for the drivers of the 61 Subaru BRZ who've dominated this race significantly. Actually, since qualifying.
Yeah.
Since qualifying, led every single lap beyond the pit strategy, have led by quite a lot of, quite a huge gap. 20 to 30 second gap over even the third place car at GT300, and that's going to come to naught when they line up on the grid and restart.
So the Subaru BRZ on the left rear is venting something.
Is that rubbing as well? Is that
no, there's something venting. It could just be a breather pipe, but the Subaru BRZ, like the Ferrari in Formula 1, you can see it there quite clearly. There is something venting on the back of the Subaru BRZ on the left-hand side. This is a car that we have seen have problems before, and now look at the team. They've spotted it. They know there's an issue with the Subaru. As we said, this car hasn't had the best reliability, well, ever.
Well, it's been exposed quite a bit this season as well, actually. In terms of it's had 2 or 3 failures already so far this year. So.
Oh look, damage on a Bentley. Never see that, do we? There is the other Prius still in the race. And the only damage to the number 31 Prius that was in the wall seems to have been it broke its wing mirror off. That's it. The car doesn't seem to be otherwise damaged. The Gainer team, they seem quite happy.
They're running second place in GT300 at the moment.
There we are.
And we're running second place actually since the start of the race as well.
Good result for them. Switching over to the new specification Nissan GT-R, the start of this season. Along with a number of teams, including KCMG in a different championship, the Blancpain Asia Series, which is also on NISMO TV. The Blancpain Asia Series.
And what else is on NISMO TV?
The Micro Cup, of course.
Oh, of course. And what else?
Well, British GT.
And what else?
Blancpain Sprint.
And what else?
Blancpain Endurance.
See, we did a good job.
Yeah.
Now the cars are lining up, Sam. I think this is where we see the difference, where they split between the GT500s and the GT300s.
So what's happened now is because the track's cleared, the Prius is out, and they're just rebuilding those foam barriers. They line up all of the GT500 cars in grid order, in race order. As you can see, the 500 cars are being stopped in the correct order. And then what's happening is the GT300's getting the wave by because they're trying to find the GT300 leader.
61,
who is there? There he is.
Just the next one to come under the Sugo. And you see the Marshall gone onto circuits. So those other cars that were a lap down or almost a lap down will continue around and then form up at the back of the field.
Someone who thinks that's probably quite a good idea was the Keeper Tom's car, which is getting quite toasty looking there. Now, the Keeper Tom's car looked to be out of position because the Calsonic car I can't see. That's why I can't see it. It's stopping. It's in trouble. It's also venting something from the rear. You can see it.
Was that just stopping or is it just restarting?
No, the Japanese commentator was getting excited about it. I think that Calsonic car might have had a little bit of trouble there.
Maybe possibly having trouble restarting because of...
We didn't stop the car, maybe that's why. But the Arta NSX went through, but the Zent went through, I think, before the Calsonic did. Well, there's all the GT300 field.
Now the GT300s are being let go.
9 laps to go to the finish. The field is, but both fields are back together. This is going to be a shootout for victory here at Sportsland Sugo. You're watching round 6 of the Super GT series live and exclusive on NISMO TV. That's what the point standing looks like, but who cares about that for now? With this 9-lap shootout, that's what the points will be. Jenson Button will take the title lead if it ends like this, but I don't think it's going to. Button is leading the race. In second position is the Arta NSX. Not quite sure how the Keeper Tom's car lost the lap. It was slow earlier on. The Epson car is also a lap down.
I don't think it has. It's probably...
and the Calsonic car is now back in position, so I think Jan deliberately didn't stop and get heat soak.
Yeah. Oh, Sasaki. And,
yeah, absolutely.
I
keep on getting confused.
Wonder if maybe with I don't know if the Keeper Toms has actually lost a lap. I wonder if it's actually more a case that...
yeah, it has. It's not in second.
No. It's not been not the best of days for the 55 Arta M6 and the 31 Toyota Prius, which we saw on the barrier. No scores for them so far, but maintaining first and second in the
because the 55 just hasn't got so much ballast. It's not in contention.
No.
So big gain. Car Zero, Hatsune Miku will move up to third in the title and a joint second actually when you look at the points, but only third because on countback. There it is. However, that's as it is now. There is a race restart to go, and things are not going to end in this order.
Will they go 2x2 for a race restart, or will it be single file?
Single file. There's the minivan. So the lights are still on the Honda NSX pace car, but Jenson Button is backing up the field. He thinks they're going to go green next time by. I'm not convinced they will.
If they are going to go green, we will see the lights on the safety car go out about 2/3 of the way through the lap, halfway through the lap maybe.
The safety car will be being told unusually to go quite slowly. Now in another series the safety car has to go at a certain speed to keep the pace up. Well, this is what they're waiting for. Get these cars off track, and they've put the Toyota Prius on the back of that Mitsubishi truck, followed by the Nissan Skyline throw vehicle.
And it may not look it, but the driver of that truck's probably got his foot to the floor.
Yeah, he absolutely has.
Well, when you were watching GT300 and GT500 cars for an hour and a half or so, it actually looks quite slow.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, the NSX there in the road car in front is going to be pushing, but these things are just so much faster. Well, here we come. Jenson Button leads 300 kilometers of Sugo, round 6 of Super GT here on NISMO TV. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We are going to get a final dash to the finish. Race order. The blue car you see in front, that's Jenson Button. He's leading. The car behind is a lap down. Then the orange Honda, that is in second. The car behind that, the white Honda, is a lap down. Then you have the blue Calsonic number 12 Nissan GT-R GT500, and the red car behind that, the Zensurimo Lexus, is in position, as are all of the cars behind that. The 23 and the 3 look both look quite threatening. And we know that both the race leader and the guy in third position could have overheating issues. Now the safety car staying out for one more lap, and I think we'll probably go green next time by.
Be interesting to see the tactics for the number 1 Keeper Toms LC500 once this race restarts.
Yeah, he's just got to get out of the way, hasn't he?
So there's no real point to him trying to actually get back on a lead lap.
No, he can't. There's not enough race left. So the Keeper Toms car just needs to get out of the way, and the Epson NSX likewise. Not a good day for the reigning champions.
No, it's they have been hampered by BOP. What is
well, it's the success penalty, isn't it?
Which on paper is the equivalent of 94 kilos or 96 kilos, I think it is.
With a different fuel flow restriction, as we talked about. The light's still on the safety car. That's where the radio, if we had playback radio messages like you do in some other series, you can hear the driver saying, "Come on, let's go racing." Got no tyre temperature at all now.
That is going to be telling for Button. Although the lapped cars in between will probably provide enough of a buffer for that first lap around.
There may be team orders applied. So Honda may get on the radio saying, "We want Jenson Button to win this race. The Arta car will not be allowed to pass." We saw it a little bit in round 1.
But also, as well, is now that Button car, the Button Yamaha motor car, is championship challengers.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
So there could be team orders applied.
As you said, lights are out on the safety car. It is in this lap. You can see the message on screen.
Jenson's backing up the field. Oh, and well, Daiki was trying to do something a little bit there in terms of tire temperature. It didn't really quite work out there. Into number 12.
Nearly actually went off the circuit instead.
Yeah.
So you have the race leader, then a lapped car, then a second place car, then a lapped car, then the third place car.
Well, we're going to go green any moment. Button's got the whole field compressed. The GT300 field's compressed behind it. Keep an eye on the Subaru. That's the race leader in GT300s. The keeper Tom's car there sitting in second on the road, and Button's gone. He's dropped the hammer. And well, the big loser there was the Calsonic. Look at the gap.
Yeah, very slow to get away. As we see the number 8 Arta NSX
saying, get out of the way!
Put a lap on the number 1 keeper Tom's, and does so.
And arriving into the first corner, the Mugen car goes straight past the Zent and then loses that position again. Nearly took out the Calsonic car, but
completely overshot the first corner, but then regained it, but lost the position.
Eyes on the number 24 and number 23 Nissans. They're right on the back of those Hondas. I told you they'd be on the back of Daiki Sasaki in not too long.
Now, will tyre temperature come into play in this opening lap, in this last dash, shall we say, to the flag?
Yes. In short. We haven't quite seen GT300 as the AU Tom's car tries to get up on the inside of Wacos and nearly manages to hit him. Doesn't quite do it.
The 300s, the 61 Subaru BRZ has pulled out already a 4-second gap over
penalty
the number
10. For Nakajima.
Number 36 AU Tom's drive-through penalty. No.
Oh, moral hazards. I don't know what that was for. What are we seeing?
Is he hit?
Yeah, he did. He hit the wet spot.
That was the incident earlier on in the race. Yeah, so
that's a moral hazard penalty.
The 19 didn't lose on his own. He was actually tapped from behind.
That explains a lot. So the AU Tom's car is out of contention.
They peel off into the pits now, yes.
3.7 seconds is the difference between first and third. But that's the difference between first and second. Now our team order is going to come into play. Will the 100 car, driven by Jensen Button, be allowed to hold the lead from the Arta NSX in second? This is the battle for the lead here at Sportsland Sugo in GT500. Back in GT300, haven't got a clue what's going on.
And it was a bit of a wobble there from Jensen Button as he came through the quick left-right. Almost losing the front end slightly. The gap is 0.8 of a second. Under pressure now from the number 8 Arta NSX for the lead of this race.
Jensen Button's first win since 2013, this would be if he took it. The moral hazard penalty has been served. Morals now reset. No, I think the call's just gone out to the Arta NSX to say hold position, yeah. He's hanging back at about the same distance. And they've got a little bit of an advantage over third. Now, we need to go back and have a look at that battle for third with the Zensarumo on the tail of Daiki Sasaki in the Calsonic car.
Button's last win, the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix.
Wow, that was McLaren's last win, was it not? And here comes the Zensarumo on the Mugen.
No, the 16's got by.
Nakajima's
got by.
If you like this action, don't forget to hit like and subscribe here on NISMO TV. Keep an eye on the number 23 and 24 cars behind the Zensarumo. That 24 Forum Engineering car particularly wants to get involved.
The number 16 Motor NSX Nakajima is now going to be gunning for that podium. He's going to be chasing after the Calsonic number 2. Keeper Tom's off the circuit and into the barrier.
Ryo Hirakawa's binned it. Now, if that's a safety car...
That's not the same place.
No, it's not. It's a different place for the off. Don't know how he's managed to do that, but if that brings out a safety car, that will be the end of the race.
Which would disappoint me greatly.
Which is why the camera's just cut straight back to the race leader, Jensen Button. Followed there by the Arta NSX from Autobax. That famous orange livery, which is incredibly orange. It doesn't really come across on television just how orange it is. You know those little highlighter pens? It's that bright, but he's got the toe from Button. Maybe he's being allowed to race.
Maybe. The gap 0.3 of a second as they came across the line.
The pace is suddenly being picked up. Is Button going to win his first Super GT race, or is he going to lose it in the closing 3 laps? Yellow flags waving. There's the Porsche recovery vehicle. Nissan Skyline must be in the back of the circuit then. And we are racing, but I'm just looking at the top of the screen. Do you know who's closing?
Calsonic,
Car 12. Daiki Sasaki is coming back at this lead group. The slightest error from either Button or Nojiri will see Nissan well back into contention here.
Nojiri, of course, won earlier on this year, the Suzuka 300 kilometer race for the number 8 Harta NSX. Button, as you said, yet to win a Super GT race. Hasn't won any race of any kind since 2012 in Formula 1. But the Calsonic car, the number 12, with Sasaki at the wheel, is closing.
I would, well...
There's a course car.
There's a course car up front, but they can just race past that. That's the Nissan Skyline.
Flashing their lights furiously.
No, that one's not the Nissan Skyline. I think that's a Subaru.
Oh, another off! It's the Epsom's off! Another one!
Well, now that really could be a safety car with 2 to go. Bertie Baguette's put it in the wall. That won't be a big hit, I don't think, but the race organisers, Bando-san from GTA, will do everything he can to keep this race green to the end. Now, how did Bertie Baguette go off?
Just
same again. Oh, that was a rubbish off.
That's a lot more dramatic than really, really ever should have been. It seemed quite slow speed as well. 2 laps to go. Button leads 0.7 of a second gap over Nojira.
Nojiri in second in the Arta NSX, followed by Daiki Sasaki in the Nissan GT-R GT500, and he is distinctly closing now on the back of that Arta NSX. But is there enough race left? I'm not sure there is.
Needs a big last couple of laps, or at least something to happen in front of them. There's not even any traffic there as well, because they haven't actually come up to lap the GT300s yet. So
yeah, I don't think they're going to get onto the back of the GT300 traffic now. We still haven't really seen what's going on in GT300, because what's going on in GT500 is quite exciting.
Well, what's happening in GT300 is the number 61 Subaru BRZ has pretty much led out almost every lap, and led it by quite a significant margin. 6 seconds ahead again from the number 10.
It's the final lap here at the 300 kilometres of Sportsland at Sugo. There's road cars on the track. There's a race going on for the lead. There's 2 cars in the wall, and Button's been held up by the course car. Oh, wow.
Was
well, here you go.
In all the things you see in racing, that is one you don't see relatively often. Button significantly held up.
But look at the 16 Mugen car. It's right on the tail of the number in the 3rd position. This is the team orders have clearly gone out to the Arta car, who didn't capitalise on the minivan.
I don't think the Arta car would have been able to anyway, because it was in the middle of that chicane. I think it would have been a road blockage anyway. Quite astonishing, really.
Incredible. Sugo always produces something you don't expect, and it's done it once again.
Race almost decided.
And there's a battle for there's a battle for 3rd going on. You're not seeing it. Jensen Button comes to the line and wins his first ever Super GT race. 2nd position, the Arta NSX. 3rd position, Daiki Sasaki, but only just from 4th position, the Team Mugen car. Look at that. Wow, what a finish.
The 38 Sensoruma taking 5th place ahead of the number 24 Forum Engineering GT-R. Now waiting for the GT300 cars to come across the line. Will it be the number 61 Subaru BRZ to take the win?
Easy.
I think it will be quite easily.
But who's going to be second?
I think the Gainer will keep 2nd place. The number 10 car. It's been a wonderful drive actually by the Subaru BRZ. Absolutely fantastic. On it every single lap, on it in qualifying, on it in practice. They've ruled the roost.
Well, more road cars on track, but an easy victory for R&D Sports, the Subaru BRZ Works team. Proud of Boxer, but never so much as today. Takes victory in GT300 at Sportsland Sugo. 2nd position, though, there's a hell of a battle. Hatsune Miku is holding off the Lamborghini and the Honda NSX, but there's double wave yellows there. But will she be able to do it across the line? They're in the tow, wheel to wheel as they come up to the finish line. Not quite enough. Hatsune Miku,
three wide across the line.
I don't know.
Hatsune Miku takes 3rd place, just, and I mean just, ahead of the number 34 Modula NSX and number 88 Huracan.
Well,
we had a race almost decided by a minivan. and a three-way flight across the line for the podium in GT300. I think that's quite novel for a Sunday morning.
Yeah. Also an afternoon, depends where you are, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, or even night, you know.
Here's the GT300 winner, probably sitting in that car with that. You can see the whatever it is coming out the back. It's a breather coming on. There's always damage on a Bentley. That's normal. But that Subaru is going to come to the finish line and probably not realise quite what's been going on around in the rest of the race. I'm going to be very interested to hear the comments from Jenson Button.
Survived
Stay
enough earlier on this
exactly, yeah. Stay tuned to NISMO TV. We will bring you all the reaction and interviews and the podium ceremony, and no clue what's going to happen in that. So we've still got plenty more Super GT to come for you. Little highlights video going to come up for you shortly as well. And we will be hearing from Jenson Button. But for now, Formula E.
As Aid, our producer, takes his first breath in 3 hours. He doesn't look it, but he's actually 23 years old, you know that.
So, enough about Le Chat.
Formula E!
Formula E. It's going to be quite good. The car looks great. The Nissan team are running. Still no news on who the driver's going to be.
Absolutely keeping that very tight-lipped, and it's less than 100 days. 100 raid break. NSX takes the win here. 100 days, though, to the start of the season already.
Exactly, and it's going to be interesting to see how that new Formula E car races. Obviously, it looks cool, and it's a lot quicker, and it can go a lot further. I think one of the factors that Nissan getting involved in that championship was
the lack of a mid-race pit stop.
Yeah, because obviously the new Nissan Leaf production car, the current one, goes really far. Now Jenson Button knows what it is to win a race again. It's been a while. I think he's quite happy. So there we have Jenson Button.
And we can't take away from Naoki Yamamoto's stint earlier on in this race as well.
Absolutely. Well, Button nearly lost the race, remember.
And again, with Sasaki in the number 12 Calsonic, he had his off as well after a startling stint from Mardenborough in the first part of the race.
And the officials aren't letting Jenson Button celebrate properly. They're telling him to stay where he is.
It's almost like being in Britain.
Yeah. He doesn't look that happy, does he? I think he'll cheer up.
I wonder if he's actually more relieved after that off than anything else.
Now he's happy.
And after surviving a safety car restart too.
Look at the height difference between them.
Well, Jenson is standing on a box.
It looks like it. He is, isn't it? Jenson Button is slightly shorter than me, but only ever so slightly. So he's very big for a driver.
Is this when your hair is long, or?
There's a picture on social media of the two of us chatting about Formula Student. You can go and have a look. Subaru very happy to take victory here as well. We'll be hearing from the yellow-hatted drivers. They're banging the car. They're banging too hard. There's quite a soft roof for that.
It's Gucci and Yamauchi.
Driver of the race for me has to go to the Subaru crew, to be honest. They haven't put a foot wrong from the lights to flag.
And as I said, from practice through qualifying, been absolutely serene all weekend long, really. And that was their first pole position in 4 years at the time, so it's not been a car that's had massive amount of success in recent years.
Yeah, but it's an interesting car. That it's one of the more interesting ones in Super GT, actually. That GT300 Subaru uses chunks of real production car, the flat 4 engine. That's really great. Right, now we're getting ready for interviews. Sunglasses. No damage in front. You can see the grass in the front of it. Oh, it's thumbs up here, not fingers. And just to thumb up. Yes, there you go. One thumb. That's position you're in. Shake your hand. Come on. Where's there's the team boss. Where's the excitable girl with a microphone?
It wasn't perfect, but yeah, it was
It's a very, very happy Jenson Button. It's hard to believe it's almost 6 years since that last victory with McLaren.
I think he's about to be reminded of that fact.
And will be again in the post-race press conference.
Indeed. Here comes the GT300 winners. They've gone for the finger technique. Lots of logos on them, aren't there? See, that's how you do it. That's the finger technique. They're trying to say Sebastian Vettel, look, you just do it straight up, not to an angle. Oh no, he's gone for the angle now. This is Sugo, it says. Yes, it is. We know that. So they pose for the photos for a bit, and then we will get the interviews. Here we go. Here comes the first interviews with Jenson Button. So he's going to be asked the question first.
今まさにですね、今回このコンビのですね、初優勝でまだまだですね、
Jenson Button's interview will be in English, all the other interviews will be in Japanese.
山本選手からお聞きしたいと思います。
Yamamoto's first driver.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much, he says.
今回スタートドライバーという作戦でですね、展開もちょっと変わった部分もありました。前半戦いかがだったですか？
そうですね、序盤はうまくいったんですけど、ちょっと気温がね想定よりも高くなったことで僕たちソフトタイヤを選んでたので、ちょっとタイヤのムービングがあってピックアップではなくて、タイヤのムービングが起きてしまって、
Tyre evolution was down to the soft tyres. They have different tyre compounds within the manufacturer range, and he was getting some tyre pickup throughout the first stint.
またロケ温が下がって、終盤ミディアム入った GB はちょっときつかった。
Oh, they changed tyre compound for the second section.
本当に難しい展開で一つもミスが許されない中で、
which is why that early pit stop worked out. They had the soft and the medium.
何よりもチームが
Yamamoto's fourth GT500
すべてが完璧にいったレース週末だったと思います。
さすが
thank you again. And now let's hear from. I can't translate this one so well. I don't speak Southwest.
そしてですね。スタート前にインタビューさせていただきましたけれども、その時と同じように最初にチェッカードフラッグを受けた車のドライブをしました元 F1 ドライバーのジェンソン・バトン選手です。Congratulations!
ありがとう。I have learned a lot of lessons here today in Sugo.
いや、スゴっていうので本当に勉強させていただきましたというところですけれども、You are in the car, the first car when checker flag to winning. It's not easy. This is the Sugo race.
Sugo is very, very tough. I think a win here is like 2 wins. The 12 car made a mistake in the last corner when he was behind, so he dropped back. And then I did the same mistake later on the marbles. You just slide off the circuit. So, it's a horrible feeling, but I was able to get back on the circuit. And then with the safety car, we were running the medium tire, so to get temperature was very difficult. And then I also had a track car in the chicane, which, I mean, unbelievable. I don't know why he was in the chicane, middle of the chicane when I arrived. So very tough, but a really, really special win. It's been 6 years since I won a race, so very special. And this guy's done an amazing job as always. And Team Kinomitsu this weekend have been fantastic. So I made it up.
まあですね、14車、自分の前を走ってた
Jason Young
12
just
号車がですね、
on the chat, is it normal for, as Jensen was saying, what was the course? Jensen's obviously not used to seeing that the course cars do just drive around the track when there's a moment. So yes, it is normal for course cars to be there in the middle of the race.
And of course, let's not forget for the NISMO Grand Prix, and when the cars are testing and running, you can get a bus run.
They do that in SuperGT in free practice as well. So buses drive around the track during free practice. There's a great video on NISMO TV. You can watch about that. In fact, there's a 360 video that you can put a headset on and immersive experience. Made one of those. So here is Kunimitsu Takahashi. He is general manager of the winning team. Himself extremely experienced in motor racing. Competed internationally himself. Motorcycles and cars. He's saying Yamamoto did a perfect job. Button not so much. But he managed to put it back together. But it was a very surprising victory.
I do believe for that off, that was actually probably Benson that was behind the wheel, not Jensen.
No, Benson's the quick one. He won the championship in 2009 in Formula 1, didn't he? I don't know who this guy is.
おめでとうございました。以上です。
Great win though for this team. But, here comes the excitable girl. It's Amy.
300クラスも続きます。Pole to win 61号車スバル BLZ。
So she's saying the Subaru BRZ won a race.
Their first win since the 2016 Suzuka 1000.
マジね。
Exactly.
19秒まで広げてで SC が入ってそれもものにせずぶっちぎりでした。本当完璧な週末になりました。
Very much to talk about.
もう本当に練習トップで
He said, I just smelt something coming from the car, but I didn't know, but everything seemed to work fine inside the car.
やっぱりここ18年のシーズンがかなりトラブルで結果が出せなかっただけに今回本当チーム全員で挑んだレースだったんで
It was just a very sensible drive through and none of the other cars seemed to come near us, so we were just quicker than everybody else. She says, probably. Thank you.
おめでとうございます。そして山内選手、今回ね、ポールからのスタートになりましたけれども、完璧な本当
Well,
に
I've just seen our Japanese producer walking through the back of the shot, so he's obviously not in the booth anymore.
おめでとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。本当
Yes,
に
thank you.
さっき井口選手が言った通り、やっぱりいろんなことがあって、本当いろいろあったんですけど、でも毎回メカニックのみんなが夜遅くまで一生懸命働いてくれて、
There might have been something to do with the mechanics, the mechanical issues, but everything works well. He'd like to thank everybody. It was wonderful, and he's very happy.
結果で返せたので、最高の週末にな
Yeah,
りました。
extremely happy, and it was quite
おめで
tiring.
とうございました。そして渋谷総監
So
督、
insightful, these post-race
やっと
interviews.
取りましたね。
そうですね。鈴鹿でですね、何度か
I've interviewed this guy
サインが来るんですけど、その前後で結構トラブルが多くて、本当に完走するのがやっとみたいな感じだったんですけど、完走もできなかったんですけど、
Subaru
こ
employee.
こに来てですね、ちょっとこの前のテストからちょっと調子が上
Must
がって
admit,
きて
for
で、一
what
番いい
was
状
quite a
態で
fraught first half
こ
of
れ
the
から
race,
な
the
という
second half of
感
the
じが
race
し
was
ま
very
す
much dominated, I think, by
本当にね、
several
もう
off.
完璧うまさ
Yes,
パーフ
yeah,
ェ
it
クトな
was.
ね
The
レースを見
marbles
せて
were
くれた
having a big effect.
スバルビア Z の皆さん、大きな拍手をお願いします。おめでとうございました。
Amy says thank you.
And very much changed the battle for the overall lead in the not long after the pit stops.
Exactly. Well, we've got podiums to come up, so are we going to see flagging on the podium? Subaru are usually quite good on the flag strategy, so they're really going to go for it here. What's Button's flag strategy going to be? Has he going to say Brawn GP on it? There's some track. Here we go. Let's look at the race result. Well, there you go. Jenson Button winning the race by just 0.5 of a second from the Alta NSX. I think they were told not to overtake. Calsonic, number 12, Nissan at GT-R GT500, just 1.3 seconds off at the end of the race. They really should have won this, but just bad luck strikes that car once more. Fourth position at the NSX GT and the Zensurumo. First of the Lexuses down in fifth. We saw some action right at the end with cars flying off the track, and there's the ones who were off. The Wedsport car went off, the Keeper Tom's car went off, and the Epson Modulo car went off. In GT300, Subaru took victory, as we saw, convincingly, actually. However, second position, the Gainer Tanak's AAA GT-R car 10 in second position. Good smile, Hatsune Miku in third. Look at that, how close it was across the line, though, with the Kenwood NSX and the Manipa Lamborghini. Look at that, 18.1, 18.1, 8.1. Literally hundredths of a second between them.
And then another three cars just a second behind.
We didn't see that on the screen, did we?
Yeah,
They're almost three wide just behind them.
For 6th, 7th, and 8th, almost three wide across the line as well.
So there's the rest of the field. Decent result for the Thai car, 18th. It's good for them. Not better than normal. Not a slightly disappointing result for the number 11 at GT-R. They hadn't had the best day. Really disappointing, though, for the 31, the 20 and the 25. Both competitive cars, both championship contenders, both scoring not a point here. Here's some nice, moody grass. There's the championship points, though. Jenson Button leads the championship with Yamamoto quite convincingly at the moment. 12 points, 11 points in the lead, 12 points in the lead, ahead of Najiri and Izawa.
That's helped somewhat by Cassidy and Hirakawa not scoring, and low scores as well for the 17 and the 23 GT-R.
In GT300, the 55 and the 31 both scored nothing, but the Hatsune Miku now joint second, as we saw on the screen, spoke about during the race. Kurosawa and Gamu, 65, car 65, 41 points, and Hironaka and Yasuda in the Nissan car 11. That's why it affected them to not score those points, you see. So they were in championship contention. They've now got a lot to do with not much racing left of this Super GT season. We'll be back for all of the races here on Super GT, but stay tuned to NISMO TV. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We will be bringing you the podium ceremony when they find or construct the podium. I have no idea what's going to happen on this podium ceremony. I don't even know what the trophies look like for Sugo.
And will it be anything like some of the quite frankly mad trophies we've seen in Formula 1 this year?
A gorilla.
A blue, white and red gorilla.
Well, here we go, another arty shot. They've got the arty shots cranked up. A few commented that we've got the slightly higher quality stream that we tried out here. I think it worked quite nicely. Look at that. That was
the Arta getting by the 12 and 6 early on.
Had a good run back, but didn't quite get to stick. It was great racing that though. Quite sure why we're getting a replay of this right now. There's Daiki Sasaki. And here's more of a battle between... I didn't realise there was contact between those two. So that we didn't see. I don't believe. And, we're just watching the... this is highlights of the Calsonic car for some reason. I can't tell you why.
And this is actually the number 12 going through into the lead, I believe.
Yeah.
When the Raybrig was struggling with tyres in the early laps. And that was crucial. As you said during the race, they seem to have changed tyre strategy and it actually changed the course of the race very much for them.
They definitely changed their tyre strategy mid-race. That's why you suddenly saw the lap time suddenly pick up from the Raybrig, who were trying to do something and it didn't work out.
And that's after the stops, the Raybrig retaking the lead after Sasaki came out on cold tyres.
Well, here we go. We seem to be getting just special Nismo highlights.
And that was the change of second place for the Arta going through.
There's the podium. Right, 716 people have hit liked. Let's see if we can get to 1,000. Hit like, and we will show you some video of Mintzilla next race up.
And subscribe.
And subscribe, yeah, of course. Got to subscribe. 160,000 people have subscribed, can't be wrong.
For every subscriber, our producer Ray gets an additional slice of bread with his breakfast every
Exactly.
morning.
He does eat 160,000 slices of bread.
He does. It's quite startling, actually.
2 flags for the 61. Flag each for the driver. They're very happy. Yellow caps. Sunglasses on one, no sunglasses on the other.
But they're not flagging.
They are flagging, yeah, but it's a single flag strategy. Big watch he's got there. Really big watch. Don't understand big watches personally. 2 double flags for the NISMO team. There you go, you see. See, how can they get 2 flags each and we've lost our 1 flag in the booth here? I don't know what happens. Did we give it away to somebody? Right, if we get to 1,000 likes, see those NISMO flags that they're waving? We will send one of you will get a NISMO flag from us.
The,
Hatsune Miku flags.
They've got 2 different flags.
They've got 2 different flags for Team Good Smile Racing. They've got a Mercedes flag and a Hatsune Miku flag. But yeah, if we get to 1,000 likes by the end of this, we will give one of you a NISMO flag.
Bear in mind, we don't actually have any posters to give away anymore.
No, we gave that away. The trophy. It's the trophy with the giant base, look. It's all base, no trophy. Oh, it's got quite jolly music in the background, isn't there?
Birds or something on the...
There's 2 birds, I think. Yeah, 2 birds or winged beasts of some sort on the trophy. It's a proper trophy, right? But why is the base so big? And the base looks a bit like worn out. It doesn't look new, does it? It's got like a bit...
Well, this race has been around for a while.
See, that one looks a better condition. It's all base though. Why is the base of that trophy so big? I mean, it's not like Sugo's a very long word to write on. I mean, Okayama I could understand.
It's a slightly smaller trophy, but the same base.
That is a decent trophy though. Not like some of them. See, I don't know, trophy designer, right? Why the trophy should look like that? That's a proper trophy. You feel happy to win that, apart from the giant base. If I had that, I'd probably take it off the base and I'll have the trophy bit, please.
So you could use the base for something else.
Yeah, doorstop. Big, hefty doorstop. Speaking of which, here's the Autobacks trophy. Smaller base on this one. Can't drink off that though. Here is Mr. Orange Jacket, the representative from the Arta Autobacks company. It's a bit like a Super Halfords.
You could use it as a nice space for maybe a cheese board or something like
that. You could use the angles to cut. So you get 2 winners' trophies, of course, in Super GT. And you might win a scratch card. Let's see if they get the scratch card. Is the scratch card going to go to GT500? I think it is. Soon, the Sparking Sake will be appearing. But first, let's pose with some trophies. Look at the flags going on the Hatsune Miku team there. That is grade A flagging. Oh well, look at the Subaru guys. They've gone one better. Flags in the trophy. That just makes the point.
No, you're blocking his.
Yeah. What about me? So we'll get the sparkling sake out in a minute. And we will see who's got their opening technique on point. It's going to be interesting to see that. Subaru BRZ GT 300 winner here at Sportsland Sugo. Great result for them. And great results through the field, actually. Here it comes, the bottles, a little bit delayed. Blue ones here. Sparkling sake. I've still not tried it. I'm going to get some.
Are the bottles the same colour as the dresses that the podium girls are wearing?
I think they are, yeah. I think this is colour coordination. No golf clubs today, though. Or any other randomness. Oh, that's all very quick. Have you noticed that they've changed the top design to make it easier for Nick Cassidy? Mainly.
Has he still got it to work?
It's got, well, he's not been on a podium for a while, so you'll have to...
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah. He went and did all that practice, and then he hasn't had, still doing quite well in the championship, so he's got a chance to be able to open bowl, but he's going to have to, does Jensen Button know how to do it anymore? It's been a while since he won something. We'll find that one out shortly. We are watching the podium procedures. GT500 coming up next. And we'll get to see how they handle it. Interesting to see Nob Taniguchi, no one better. Little 3 crowns on his overalls. He knows it. Quite a character. Great story about Nob Taniguchi, the Hatsune Miku driver on Super GT World. Fascinating background as a race car driver. Didn't start off entirely legally.
Ah. Are we talking the NASCAR?
No, illegal street racing.
All right. So not bootlegging then?
No. It's quite well documented. And then he sort of went legit and became one of the best drivers in the business. Here is the GT500 winning lap from Jensen Button, and the jury in the R2 NSX, and just behind, on the podium for the first time as a GT500 driver, Jan Mardenborough.
His last podium in Super GT was when he was in the 300 class.
That's right, yeah. He got quite a few of those.
In 2016.
Of course, not the first podium for Daiki Sasaki.
No.
Who has won a couple of races at least that I can think of. I can't remember if he ever won any more in 500 because he was too young, and I think he was still in 300 back then. And I'm just having a quick look. Oh yeah, no, he did. He won in. He won a race back in 2015 as well. Here we go. Oh, hero music again. Same hero music. They obviously didn't find a new tape for the second bit. And as we get the podium ceremony, coming out of the door any moment will be a bloke from the west of England.
A very happy bloke.
Oh, there's a very happy girl dancing around just at the bottom of the screen with a flag. Oh. And she's danced away. So they're calling him.
It's Jensen Button.
There he is.
And Aoki Yamamoto.
They're being seen. Oh, he nearly lost his sunglasses. Look.
It doesn't look like that sunny of a day.
Got to have your sunglasses though. That's what racing drivers have to do. They have to have sunglasses and big watches. I mean, that's what racing drivers do these days. They have to. There's Jenson Button. Honda racing flag. Don't get to see those waves on the podium too often. Especially not in Formula 1 at the moment.
Next courses, Tomoki Nojira and Takuya Idzawa, the number 8 Arta NSX.
1-2. Well, there is Jan Mardenborough for the first time as a GT500 driver. Oh, that's nice of him, isn't it? Goes and shakes the hand of everybody. What a nice man.
And Daiki Sasaki on the 3rd place as well.
Welsh flag on his overalls. Double flagging as well. The Calsonic flag and the NISMO flag. He looks reasonably happy. The two look reasonably happy for this podium finish, 3rd position. They have every right to look massively disappointed because the race win was on, but they just didn't.
I think they look happy, but are also tinged with maybe a feeling of, well, we could have had a bit more than that.
But look at this. I mean, bear in mind, you've got the 2009 Formula 1 World Champion stood next to you, who you had beaten until an error caused the car just to go.
I think the one thing we missed out in this race is whether or not the 12 Calsonic would have been able to catch and repass the race-leading Raybrake once the tyres were up to temperature.
Yeah, I think it could have done. And actually, bear in mind, Button did take the car off. So if that hadn't happened, he would have been right there.
Yeah.
So another near miss for the Team Impul Calsonic, but still a fantastic result overall. There he is, look. I wonder who's going to get the scratch card. But yeah, so Jan Mardenborough standing on the podium in GT500 in a Super GT race. It isn't an amazing long amount of time ago the only thing he knew of Super GT was playing it on a PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Which is really not that long ago. So then won GT Academy. He learnt to play PlayStation to win GT Academy. He's still never finished Gran Turismo. He's never completed all the levels. He's got a gaming set up in his bedroom in Tokyo. And he just games all the time. So actually he races for real in the... Here's a scratch card. He actually does a lot of online racing. And people don't realise they're actually racing the real Jan Mardenborough.
Does he let Nick Cassidy use the setup?
No.
Nick has to do with a couch and an old PS1.
That's it. So is Jenson Button going to get a scratch card? 500,000 yen for the best performance. Yes, he is. Presented by J Sports. That's about 3,414 pounds, which will allow Jenson to buy a drink for most of his entourage on the way home. Which is 39,000 Salvadoran colons, in case you were wondering.
And of course, by colon, that's not they don't trade in the human body part. It's actually a currency.
Colon. Probably. I'm good with languages. And it's 125,639 with 45 cents of Ukrainian hryvnias. Well, next up on NISMO TV for Super GT is Autopolis, another race that always produces good action. Round 7, live and exclusive. That's on the 21st of October. So hit like and subscribe, and we might give away some NISMO flags or something. But it's only 825 if you hit like, so it's not really enough, so we might not do it. So, yeah. But it's fantastic to have you all along. And Jan Mardenborough was looking very confused there. Oh, just lift up your trophy for the photos. When they're doing the photos, and then it'll be spraying with the champagne. This will be the first time Jan Mardenborough will have to have washed sparkling sake out of his Calsonic overalls. Let's get a few tips from Daiki Sasaki on how the best way to do it is. Yeah, he likes that trophy. Well, we'll hear from Jan Mardenborough post-race. There'll probably be a video on NISMO TV. That's something there will be. I'm just not quite sure when it will go up. Jan's thoughts from his first ever podium, standing there chatting to Jenson Button. Giving tips on driving, probably. Here it comes, the sparkling sake.
Probably discussing their various offs that they've had in the race.
Well, Jan didn't have any offs.
Of course it was, yes, it was Sasaki.
It was Jenson Button and Sasaki who went off, and well, half the GT500 field in one lap apparently.
But I mean, as I mentioned a few moments ago, that was very much a bottom half of the race dominated by cars leaving the circuit and having clanging into the barrier.
Oh! Martin's gone slow. Button's gone too soon. Oh, Button's just drinking it. That's not what you're meant to do. Oh, he's got it wrong. Button's gone wrong. Dear, oh dear.
For a guy who's won that many Formula 1 races, a Formula 1 World Championship, and so many Formula 1 podiums, to get the podium ceremony at the Champagne wrong.
Yeah. Oh.
Yamamoto, who I think it's fair to say, it was his stint that really did it.
Yeah, it really was.
He was wonderful in the first half of the race. And once they changed the strategy, once the Raybrick team decided to change their strategy, he was on it. Because that initial strategy of letting things last was not going to win them the race.
Sun Knight says, great race and fantastic commentary. Well, the race was good. Fantastic to have you guys along. Great. We love having you all in the chat, so do stay, keep chatting away. It's fantastic to have you all along for us with Super GT. We are going to be back online and talking about the next race from Autopolis. But first, let's take a look back at what happened. Nakajima looked pensive. This is qualifying. It rained a bit. There was a bird at 12. And the focus button on the camera didn't work. This guy button went off, a Prius crashed, a girl nearly cried, another girl smiled, a man from the southwest got some sunglasses. Jenson Button taking his first ever victory. I've been Sam Collins.
I've been Leo Gorman.
We've been NISMO TV, and this has been Super GT. Don't forget, subscribe, and we'll see you back for Autopolis on the 21st of October.